Chapter 1, Multi-Child, Multi-Blessing. Gamu Universe Country, Black Dragon Mountain Star Domain, Heighten Empire, Azure Star. Nanjong Base City. Yan Ning, 26 years old, served for 10 years, Junior War General Level Martial Artist, Apprentice Rank 4. Given that your gene origin energy overdraft caused damage to your meridians, your physical fitness can no longer support frontline combat. According to Article 283 of the Post-Disaster Work Regulations, in order to preserve high-quality human genes, you have met the conditions for medical retirement. Based on genetic testing, the organization requires you to procreate at least 3 offspring with 3 adult women within 5 years. This is both a responsibility and an obligation. Please be advised. Inside the room, a figure was reflected on the holographic screen. Yan Ning looked at the prompts that kept popping up, sighed deeply, and finally chose to confirm. He had transmigrated to the Swallowed Star world 9 years ago. The original owner had quickly and gloriously sacrificed himself during his first clearing mission, and Yan Ning had transmigrated here. As a transmigrator, Yan Ning also had the thought that a great man should wield a 3-foot sword to achieve immortal deeds, but facing the cataclysmic Yao beasts and having no system, he could only walk on thin ice. Fortunately, he had a little bit of talent. He became a martial artist envied by outsiders. Z's, accompanied by the holographic screen turning off. At this time, a strange sound came from outside the window. The sky screen defense array of Nanjong Base City was emitting a dull hum due to the impact of Yao beasts, accompanied by the firelight of several falling avian Yao beast corpses. Yan Ning came to the window and sighed, "Oh well, with my current talent, reaching the war general level is already the end. Even if I only sleep 5 hours a day, even if I've tried all the guiding techniques I could find, my cultivation still hasn't budged an inch. I haven't progressed at all in 4 years, it's time to accept my fate." He had also once firmly believed that his fate was in his own hands, not heaven's. But no matter how hard he worked, no matter how diligent he was, without talent, without the genes, he ultimately couldn't see any hope. Some things are destined from the moment one is born. All the power in the room went out. Yan Ning no longer cultivated as hard as before, but chose to have a peaceful sleep. Tomorrow, he would have to go to the Azure Organization's matchmaking convention. The next day, Nanjong Base Office, Hall Number 17. This week's Gene Matching Exchange Meet was being held here. In the cataclysmic era, since the genes of a martial artist are superior to those of a mortal, every retired or disabled martial artist is regarded as the most precious breeding resource. For a martial artist, procreation is the final battlefield. Hundreds of people sat in the hall. The men were mostly retired martial artists like Yan Ning who were disabled or whose potential was exhausted, while the women were mostly elite women or healthy civilians within the base city. No. 072, Yan Ning, War General Level, Physical Assessment Grade B, Excellent Genes, Recommended Matching Range, Advanced Teachers, Researchers, or women with genetic potential reaching Apprentice Level 2. Yan Ning sat on a bench in the lounge area, watching pairs of men and women after just 10 minutes of conversation go straight to the nearby counter to collect their marriage certificates. An indescribable feeling welled up in his heart. Marriage, after all, is mostly about living together. Yan Ning was open-minded about it. "Hello, Mr. Yan." A gentle voice interrupted his thoughts. Looking up, he saw a woman in a white dress, with fair skin and a tall figure. "My name is Shen Yao, 24 years old, a biology teacher at Nanjong 3rd Elementary School. My genetic compatibility report shows a 91% match with you. I know you were once a hero on the front lines, if you don't mind that I'm just an ordinary person." The woman sat down and gracefully handed over a holographic document. Yan Ning looked at her. Then he looked at the huge slogan hanging above the hall. Open black lens bracket procreation is the final battlefield for a martial artist close black lens bracket. He was stunned for a while before speaking. "I am already a body retired due to illness, I can hardly be called a hero. Young Miss Shen, you should know that choosing a retired martial artist means your future life might involve taking care of someone covered in hidden injuries, and you may even face the possibility of my genetic collapse at any time. Shen Yao smiled, her eyes firm. In this era, being able to live, marry, and have children is already much happier than most people who die in the wilderness area. I want a home, and I want my children to be born under a roof protected by a martial artist. Yan Ning was silent for a moment, then let out a long breath. The obsession that had been weighed on his heart for 9 years completely dissipated at this moment. Okay. He stood up and held out his hand, then let's go register. No wedding, no diamond ring. Under the operation of the staff, 2 red electronic certificates were issued to their communication watches. From this moment on, Yan Ning officially entered the ranks of medically retired martial artists. That night, martial artist family quarters, the newly assigned home. Shen Yao seemed very constrained. She had changed into a red wedding dress and was sitting on the edge of the bed. Brother Yan Ning. Yan Ning snapped back to his senses, looking at the woman whose fate would be linked to his from now on, and then at the prosperous yet dangerous neon lights of the base city outside the window. He walked over and held Shen Yao's warm, soft hand. Following me, you've been wronged. I am already one of the luckiest women in the world. Shen Yao shook her head. Yan Ning turned around, looking at the woman whose fate would be linked to his from now on. The sense of resignation in his heart gradually turned into a strange sense of responsibility. Even if he couldn't become a god king who traverses the universe, protecting this small family might also be a form of cultivation. The red candles flickered. Outside the window, the cold wind was sharp, but inside the room, the spring atmosphere was growing thick. The next morning, sunlight spilled onto the bedside. Yan Ning opened his eyes, feeling the still blocked gene origin energy in his body. He habitually wanted to get up and go to the training ground, but suddenly remembered he didn't have to go anymore. He turned his head to look at the sleeping Shen Yao beside him, his heart filled with peace. However, just as he was about to get up, a grand voice like the beginning of the universe rang in his mind. Open black lens bracket detected that the host has completed the branching out initial task, bloodline gene connection successful close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket many children many blessings system has been activated close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket rewards being distributed, lucky draw ×1 close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket note, detected that the host's genes are currently in an active state. If offspring of apprentice level or above are born, the reward multiplier will double, close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket details, close black lens bracket. Yan Ning froze in place. System. This golden finger, 9 years late, actually descended the moment he chose to accept his fate and take a wife. It's not because I didn't work hard, but because I found the wrong way to open this world. Yan Ning looked down, looking at Shen Yao in his arms, who seemed a bit worried because of his strange behavior. Brother Yan Ning, what's wrong? Yan Ning took a deep breath, suppressing the joy in his heart. He slowly leaned into Shen Yao's ear and said, "Nothing, I just suddenly feel, the procreation task assigned by the organization, we might have to overfulfill it." Shen Yao's face turned red. Before she could react, she was pulled into his arms by a force like an overwhelming mountain. Once again, the brocade quilts billowed like red waves, and jade bones yielded to the dust of passion. Chapter 2, Yunmo Planet Psyker Master Cultivation Method. Newlyweds in the first flush of love, the shadows of red candles flickering. Outside the window, the canopy of the base city continued to shimmer. Yan Ning looked at Shen Yao, who was fast asleep beside him, a trace of affection showing on his face. In the late stage of their game, both were novices. Shen Yao had long been pushing her limits, yet she still forced herself to support Yan Ning. This intense battle was indeed an overload for Shen Yao, who was still an ordinary person. Rest well, we have plenty of time ahead of us. Yan Ning gently tucked the corner of the quilt around her. Thinking of Shen Yao's complete devotion, his heart was filled with a heavy desire to protect her. This afternoon, I'll go to the merit office to exchange for some purple river Ganoderma and deep sea flood dragon blood. These nourishing treasures will be beneficial for your gene activation, he thought to himself. His gaze, however, had already pierced through the void realm, landing on the system panel deep within his sea of consciousness. Open black lens bracket. Many children, many blessings, fate is changing. Close black lens bracket. Lucky draw, as expected, it's not just a simple accumulation of numbers. Open black lens bracket. At this point, I hope readers will remember our domain name 101kks.com. Close black lens bracket. Ning calmly sorted through the system's logic. Shen Yao's genetic potential was apprentice rank 2, while he was apprentice rank 4. According to genetics, their offspring would have a high probability of possessing decent origin energy sensitivity at birth. If the child is born a year from now and their talent reaches the apprentice level, the reward multiplier will double. As for the organization's requirement of 3 spots in 5 years, Ning did not intend to complete it right now. First, it was out of respect for his feelings for Shen Yao. Although Ning was no saint, he still had a bottom line. After all, he wasn't a breeding stud. Second, sharpening the axe does not delay the woodcutting. Ning could afford to wait this little bit of time. Therefore, Ning's current goal was simple: lie low, have children, use system rewards to grow stronger, and after getting stronger, breed offspring with even more powerful women. Opportunities were rare. Ning had to seize every single one he could. Now, let me see what good things I can get from the lucky draw. He clicked on the system panel. Open black lens bracket. Items. Close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket. Methods. Close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket. Equipment. Close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket. Others. Close black lens bracket. It's quite comprehensive, but can this thing really produce good items? Also, the most critical point, in his previous life, lucky draws relied on spending money. In this life, do they rely on spending essence? Ning felt a strange sensation in his heart, but he still silently thought, draw, in his mind. 3 seconds later, under Ning's expectant gaze, the pointer stopped on open black lens bracket. Methods. Close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket. Congratulations, host, you have drawn a growth legacy reward. Close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket. Yunmo remnants, Sea of Consciousness Pioneering Manual. Close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket. Includes sub-items. Close black lens bracket. Brain domain expansion, from 0 to 1 acquired leap strategy. Close double angle bracket. Yunmo planet, apprentice level limit guidance technique. Controller, the art of long-range slaughter from entry to grave. Close double angle bracket. Open double angle bracket. Introduction to illusions, mental dimensional reduction for the weak-willed. Close double angle bracket. This is Yunmo planet. Ning's heart shook violently. He had originally thought he could only wait for death at the war general level in this life, even facing the risk of genetic collapse. But now, this manual directly gave him a grand path leading to becoming a Psyker Master. In this world, a Psyker Master represented being invincible among the same rank and the ability to kill those at higher levels. My Sea of Consciousness has always been a dead silence, never detecting any psychic talent. This manual actually says it can be improved acquiredly. Ning could not wait and sat cross-legged. Following the brain domain expansion chapter in the manual, he began his first attempt at psychic meditation. As his consciousness sank, Ning felt as if he had entered an absolute void. The originally stagnant gene origin energy, driven by the apprentice-level limit guidance technique, actually began to produce a strange resonance. This resonance was no longer brutally crashing into his damaged meridians, but transformed into countless tiny tentacles, following his spine all the way up, rushing straight to the crown of his head. Pain. It was a heart-piercing, bone-gouging pain. It felt as if a blunt knife was forcibly splitting open his sea of consciousness, which had never been opened before. Break. Ning roared in his heart. He thought of his struggles over the past 9 years, the helplessness he felt when facing Yao beasts in the wilderness, and the unwillingness he felt when he was forced to retire. If effort has no end, it's because the path is wrong. Now, the path was right before his eyes. Boom. Accompanied by a thunderclap that only he could hear, Ning's world changed. In the originally dark sea of consciousness, a faint but resilient pale green light point quietly emerged. Immediately after, that light point rapidly expanded, turning into wisps of slender energy. Psychic power. Open black lens bracket brain domain expansion successful. Current expansion, 7% reached the entry standard for Psyker Master close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket promotion, Psyker Master Apprentice rank 1 close black lens bracket. At that moment, Yan Ning didn't even need to open his eyes. He could clearly see the fine dust floating in the air and feel Shen Yao's steady breathing. He could even perceive the frequency of the sweeping robot's wheel rotation in the corridor 10 meters away. With a thought, an alloy letter opener on the desk trembled slightly, then with a whoosh, it rose from the ground and spun rapidly around his body. The whistling sound of it cutting through the air was crisp and pleasant. So this is the power of a Psyker Master. Yan Ning opened his eyes, the original fatigue in them swept away and replaced by a long-lost excitement. The key was that this was only the beginning. With the deep cultivation of the Sea of Consciousness Pioneering Manual, he could not only repair his so-called foundation damage, but even reverse nourish his physical body, reaching the stellar stage, or even the universe stage and beyond. Yan Ning turned his head and looked at Shen Yao, who was still sound asleep. Yao Yao, you didn't choose the wrong person. Yan Ning couldn't help but laugh. He had thought it was the beginning of a retirement life, but unexpectedly, this was the maiden voyage of his conquest of the Sea of Stars. Since reproduction is the final battlefield, then on this battlefield, I will give birth to a God-King family that spans the universe. After successfully breaking through to Psyker Master Rank 1, Yan Ning was not carried away by this power. He knew very well that now was definitely not the time to reveal his cards to the organization. An existence like the system that defied common logic, once leaked, would never bring admiration, but endless covetousness. The act of handing over one's life and property to the mercy of the outside world was, in his view, undoubtedly extremely foolish. With this system, the time it takes for me to break through realms will undoubtedly be significantly reduced. Once I grow to a realm where I can ignore all rules, it won't be too late to slowly hand over these legacies to Azure. At this moment, the Nanjong base city canopy sounded a buzzing alarm again, pulling Yan Ning's thoughts back to the past. The tragic Nanjong meat grinder war, 3 years ago, was still a nightmare for countless survivors. A Lord-level monster, the blood-patterned armored dragon, led thousands of Beast General-level and Beast Soldier-level monsters to assault the northern defense line of Nanjong. In that battle, Nanjong base city lost more than 30% of its frontline martial artists, and 2 satellite sub-cities were completely razed to the ground, with blood flowing like a river. If several God of War-level powerhouses hadn't fought to the death to stop them, Nanjong would have likely been reduced to ruins long ago. Yan Ning had also overdrawn his gene origin energy to protect civilians in that battle, leading to damaged meridians and ultimately resulting in his medical discharge. For now, the true masters of Azure were the boundless monsters. Beast General level, Lord class, King level monsters, each one was like a sword of Damocles hanging over the head of Azure civilization. Yan Ning clenched his fists. Even if he became a Psyker Master, if these threats were not eliminated one day, he would never find peace of mind. After calming his emotions, he once again immersed himself in the mysterious world of the Sea of Consciousness Pioneering Manual. Chapter 3, The War is about to begin. 10 days is neither long nor short. For the newlywed Yan Ning, these 10 days were busy and fulfilling. By day, he immersed himself in the cultivation of the Sea of Consciousness Pioneering Manual, feeling his psychic power grow bit by bit. Anything produced by the system was bound to be high quality. The guiding technique provided by that manual was 10,000 times more exquisite than any cultivation technique he had ever learned. His originally blocked meridians actually began to slowly clear under the nourishment of his psychic power. It truly allowed him to experience the terrifying power of a heaven-rank cultivation technique that even an ordinary person could understand. The nights were a different kind of labor. Shen Yao was gentle and considerate, never asking what he was cultivating, simply performing her duties as a wife in silence. To Yan Ning's delight, in less than a week, Shen Yao became pregnant. When the 2 red lines on the pregnancy test lit up, Shen Yao's eyes reddened, and she threw herself into his arms, crying for a long time. Yan Ning held her, a similarly complex set of emotions surging in his heart. In his past life, he never thought he would have a child. In this life, however, this child had come so quickly. Truly, time and fate are fickle, fortune plays tricks on people. Rest well, don't worry about anything, Yan Ning comforted her softly. Shen Yao nodded obediently, but then became worried again. Brother Ning, the things you've bought these past few days are too expensive. Too expensive. They certainly weren't cheap. During these 10 days, Yan Ning had spent money like water. First were the supplements for Shen Yao. 3 Zaihe spirit reishis, each costing 2 million federal credits. 5 vials of deep-sea flood dragon blood essence, at 800,000 each. And an early pregnancy gene stabilizer shot, costing 3 million. Just to nourish Shen Yao's body, he had poured in nearly 20 million, and he hadn't spent little on himself either. Although the Yunmo remnants were a massive opportunity, cultivating them still required a large amount of auxiliary resources. The nerve-nourishing agents required for brain domain expansion cost 500,000 per vial, and he had used 6 in 10 days. Thought crystal dust, used for tempering psychic power, cost 4 million for a small bottle. He had gritted his teeth and bought one. There was also the Vitality Origin liquid, for repairing internal injuries to the physical body, at 1 million per dose. He had already used 3. Adding everything up, nearly half of the 100 million federal credits he had saved over the years was gone. Wasting money. Yan Ning smiled and pinched Shen Yao's nose. Your man will be able to make big money in the future, so what does this amount matter? You aren't alone now, there's a little guy in your belly. I can't let the two of you suffer. Shen Yao wanted to say more, but Yan Ning had already pulled her out the door. Come on, let's go for a walk downstairs. It's not good to stay cooped up in the house. Most of the residents in the martial artist neighborhood were medically retired martial artists. People missing arms or legs were everywhere, some were on crutches, others in wheelchairs, all sunning themselves and chatting downstairs. Yan Ning and Shen Yao walked slowly along the tree-lined path, attracting many gazes. After all, in this neighborhood, a medically retired martial artist like Yan Ning, with all 4 limbs intact and a healthy complexion, was indeed a rare sight. Have you heard? A few general-level giant bears have popped up north of the base city. Those things are only supposed to be in the bitter cold lands of the Ruskies. How did they end up down here in the south? Who knows? My cousin is a scout on the 7th Defense Line. He said he saw them with his own eyes. One swipe of a claw can flatten an armored vehicle. Beast. General level, at least 3 of them. 3. That's serious. The brothers on the front line are going to have a hard time. You bet. A batch of veterans was conscripted last week, and not a single one has come back yet. The sounds of discussion reached Yan Ning's ears, and he frowned slightly. Ice-patterned giant bears. Those were indeed a species unique to the northern plateaus. Their sudden appearance in the south didn't seem normal no matter how one looked at it. Before he could think further, he felt several gazes fall upon him. Oh, if it isn't Yan Ning. A middle-aged man missing his left arm leaned back on a bench, sizing him up. I heard you were medically retired too. You don't look like it, your arms and legs seem perfectly fine. Yan Ning recognized him. Zhao Dezu, a veteran who had retired a few years before him. Brother Zhao, Yan Ning nodded as a greeting. Several other people sat beside Zhao Dezu, all veterans missing limbs, and their gazes toward Yan Ning were not very friendly. Tisk tisk, it's good to be young, another bald man clicked his tongue. Retiring and being able to marry such a beautiful wife, staying home every day holding her on a warm bed, unlike us cripples. Even the organization's job assignments don't reach us. Shen Yao's face flushed slightly, and she instinctively leaned closer to Yan Ning. Zhao Dezu said sarcastically, I'm just wondering. You're a war general level martial artist with a damaged foundation, so how do you look more energetic than us cripples? Could it be, you pulled some strings to get that medical retirement? As soon as these words were spoken, the expressions of the veterans around them became subtle. Exactly. Zhao Dezu took up the thread. While people are risking their lives on the front line, some people are hiding in the rear living it up. Tisk tisk, young martial artists are all the same, drowning in their comforts and unable to leave. They don't care how many monsters are outside, or how Many brothers are fighting for their lives on the front line. HMPH. If I still had this arm, I would have answered the call and gone up long ago. Exactly. Some people are just battle-shy lizards. Shen Yao wanted to speak up and explain, but Yan Ning gently pressed her hand down. Yan Ning's expression was calm. He could see that the anger of these people wasn't entirely directed at him. He, a medically retired martial artist, with intact limbs and a new bride, had simply become a convenient target for them to vent their emotions. Yan Ning didn't explain, nor did he argue. Which of these people hadn't shed blood and risked their lives for Azure? What did it matter if they said a few words? A little mutual understanding was enough. He nodded slightly. Brother Zhao, Brother Sun, seniors, you were right. The brothers on the front line are indeed working hard. Although I, Yan Ning, have retired, I have never forgotten that I am a martial artist. Zhao Dezu snorted and turned his head away. The atmosphere was a bit tense. At this moment, an old man who had been silent spoke up. He sat in a wheelchair, his legs completely gone from the knees down, and a scar stretched from his forehead to his chin, looking shocking to the eye. All right, that's enough talk. The old man looked at Yan Ning, his gaze calm. Young brother, your foundation is damaged. Which kind is it? Yan Ning answered truthfully, overdrawn gene origin energy and damaged meridians. The old man nodded, thoughtful. No external injuries, and you look young, then you should be careful. What do you mean, senior? The old man lowered his voice. If nothing goes wrong, the conscription order should be coming down in the next couple of days. Medically retired martial artists like you, with intact limbs and combat power remaining, are the favorite targets for conscription by those above. Those of us missing arms and legs are just burdens if we go, but you are different. He paused. I advise you, don't be foolish enough to go up with the first batch. When the conscription order comes, use an exemption if you can. Some people have deep schemes. Don't let yourself be used as a tool and become a scapegoat for some young master. Yan Ning's heart tightened, and he nodded solemnly. Thank you for your guidance, senior. The old man waved his hand, said no more, and slowly pushed his wheelchair away. Chapter 4. Advanced Warrior Level, Apprentice Rank 3 Psyker Master. Upon returning home, Shen Yao burst into tears. Brother Ning. Yan Ning gently pulled her into his arms, letting her lean against his shoulder. What's wrong? They said those things about you. You're clearly not like that. You cultivate every day, you work harder than anyone. Silly girl. Yan Ning wiped the tears from her face. They are veterans who have bled for this base city. What's wrong with letting them say a few words? It's not like I'll lose a piece of flesh. Shen Yao looked up at him, her eyes red. But about the conscription order, was what that senior said true? Yan Ning fell silent for a moment. It was true. Given his situation, the issuance of a conscription order was a high probability event. Don't worry. According to my merit records, I can exempt myself from conscription twice. 2 opportunities for exemption are enough for me to make some preparations. Shen Yao was still uneasy. Then what if the 2 exemptions are used up? Yan Ning smiled. The mobilization time for 2 conscriptions adds up to at least 3 or 4 months. In such a long time, if the problem still can't be solved, then the entire Nanjong base city probably won't last much longer either. The news of monster movements to the north gave Yan Ning an ominous premonition. But at least for now, he didn't need to tell Shen Yao about these worries. He had a cheat system now. If he couldn't even solve this small trouble, wouldn't that be a disgrace to all transmigration practitioners? Just focus on your pregnancy. No matter what, staying until the child is born won't be a problem. Shen Yao buried her face in his chest, her voice muffled. Promise me, you must stay safe. I promise you. 3 days later, the conscription order arrived as expected. Open black lens bracket martial artist Yan Ning, IDNX0721. Due to a large-scale gathering of beast swarms outside Nanjong base city, to ensure the safety coefficient of the base city, periodic clearing of surrounding threatened areas is now required. According to the martial artist conscription management regulations, you have been included in this mobilization list. Please report to the Nanjing Base City Martial Artist Management Office within 7 days. Close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket. Current exemptions. 2 close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket. Exempt. Close black lens bracket. Yan Ning stared at the words on the holographic screen, not moving for a long time. The news said this was a normal gathering of beast swarms, but was it really just a common seasonal migration? Yan Ning took a deep breath and pressed the confirm button. Open black lens bracket. Exemption successful. Close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket. Remaining exemptions. 1 close black lens bracket. The screen went dark. Yan Ning closed his eyes, feeling the increasingly solid psychic power within his sea of consciousness. Currently, there was still some distance to becoming a rank 3 Psyker Master. The internal injuries of his physical body were also about 70% repaired. He needed time. At least another month. A month's time passed quietly during his cultivation. More and more news appeared on the internet. Although the defensive lines near Nanjing Base City remained stable and the daily lives of the citizens were not significantly affected, an indescribable sense of unease slowly spread like fog. Have you heard? The second conscription is coming. The people from the dojos are running faster than anyone. The news definitely isn't wrong. What are you afraid of? Since Nanjing Base City was established, not a single monster has been able to break through the defensive line. In dojos, on forums, and in the corridors of the martial artist apartments, people were discussing fervently. But most people still chose to believe that as long as the sky curtain and the defensive lines remained, life could go on as usual. Martial artist apartment, underground training level. At this moment, in a 30 square meter training room, 9 dark gold flying daggers were rapidly weaving through the air. The blades spun, crossed, dived, and circled back. At times they gathered like a swarm of bees returning to a hive, and at times they scattered and shot out like a startled flock of birds. Stellar chaos, from the Yunmo Remnant's basic 36 forms, was the first threshold for a controller's entry. Yan Ning sat cross-legged in the center of the training room, eyes slightly closed, his 10 fingers twitching slightly on his knees. His psychic power spread out like a spider web, firmly locking onto the 9 flying daggers. The trajectory, speed, and angle of each flying dagger needed to be precise to the millimeter. The slightest carelessness would result in the blades colliding and total failure. When he first started practicing, Yan Ning couldn't even control 3 blades at the same time. His psychic power was like a kite with a broken string, flying haphazardly. But now, converge, Yan Ning shouted in a low voice. The 9 flying daggers suddenly accelerated, drawing 9 arcs in the air, hitting the alloy target at the end of the training room almost simultaneously. Clang, 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 clang. The dense sound of metal clashing made the walls tremble. 9 sparks bloomed almost at the same instant, leaving 9 indentations of uniform depth on the target. Yan Ning opened his eyes and let out a long breath. Open black lens bracket. Basic 36 forms. Major achievement. Close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket. Current psychic power output efficiency, 3x amplification of conventional combat power. Close black lens bracket. 3 times. He murmured to himself, a flash of excitement in his eyes. In battles between martial artists of the same level, there is usually only a 1 to 2-fold difference in combat power. However, the controller secret techniques of a Psyker Master can exert several times the lethality of limited psychic power through exquisite control. A 3-fold amplification. This meant that his apprentice rank 3 psychic power could explode with destructive power approaching the peak of apprentice rank 4. And apprentice rank 4 corresponded to a junior war general. Even without these 36 styles, with my current Psyker Master strength, I'm already capable of fighting a junior war general. With this 3x amplification. With a thought from Yan Ning, the 9 flying daggers all hovered in front of him, tips pointing outward, arranged in a fan shape. Dealing with an intermediate general will be easy, not much of a problem. Even if I encounter a beast general level monster in the wild, I'll have the capital to contend with it. Beast general level corresponds to the human war general level. However, at the same level, monsters often have the upper hand over humans due to their powerful physical bodies and natural combat instincts. If an intermediate general encounters an intermediate beast general, being able to retreat in one piece is already considered good. But Yan Ning spoke of contending, which meant he not only had the power to protect himself but even the power to fight. This confidence came from his status as a psyker master and from this month of investment regardless of the cost. 15 vials of nerve-nourishing agent, 7.5 million. 2 bottles of psychic crystal dust, 8 million. 7 doses of vitality protoplasm, 7 million. Add to that various supplements for Shen Yao, prenatal checkup fees, training room rent, the numbers in his account were rapidly decreasing. There's only 10 million left in the account. Yan Ning looked at the communicator on his wrist, feeling some pressure. 10 million sounded like a lot, but it could only buy 2 large apartments in Nanjing Base City. For a martial artist, this small amount of money couldn't withstand much use at all. A single A7 series alloy flying dagger cost 2 to 3 million. If he really wanted to switch to the A7 series, a set would cost over 20 million, which he couldn't afford at all right now. He could only barely manage to replace them with the A6 series flying daggers. Once this situation blows over, I'll have to apply to hunt monsters. I can't just sit here and let my resources run dry. Yan Ning stood up and stretched his muscles. This month, his physical body was also recovering rapidly. Relying on the feedback from the guidance techniques in the Yunmo remnants, combined with spending lavishly on repair agents, his damaged meridians were now 90% repaired. The gene origin energy was flowing smoothly. His physical fitness was also approaching its peak level. In another month or two, it should be completely recovered. By then, with a War General level physical body and a War General level Psyker Master status, advancing on both fronts, even if I encounter an advanced Beast General, I might be able to go toe-to-toe with it. At this moment, the communication watch popped up another message. Open black lens bracket. The concentration of beast swarms on the outskirts of Nanjing Base City continues to rise. All martial artists, please be prepared to respond to conscription at any time. Close black lens bracket. Respond at any time. Not 7 days, not 3 days, but at any time. This meant that the pressure on the front line was much greater than the outside world knew. Yan Ning looked at the message, feeling that time was tight. Chapter 5, An Old Friend's Final Entrustment, Marriage. 3 days later, Yan Ning was cultivating in the underground training room as usual when he received a notification that someone had come to visit. He put away his flying daggers, wiped the sweat from his forehead, and walked out of the training room. When the elevator doors opened, he froze. Old Captain. The visitor was Zhao Tishan, 45 years old, an intermediate general, and Yan Ning's direct captain when he served on the 7th Defense Line. He had participated in the Nanjing Meat Grinder War with him 3 years ago. He had a burly build, a square face, and thick eyebrows. A girl was following beside Zhao Tishan. She looked to be in her early 20s, with her hair in a ponytail and wearing a light-colored coat. Her small face was slightly flushed, and she kept her head down, her fingers unconsciously twisting the hem of her clothes. "Ha ha, kid, long time no see." Zhao Tishan strode forward, his palm, the size of a cattail leaf fan, clapping heavily on Yan Ning's shoulder as he sized him up. "Not bad, you look much more spirited than last time. I heard you got married. Good, good, you finally saw the light. You're joking, old captain." Yan Ning smiled as he ushered him inside, his gaze inadvertently brushing past the girl. The girl noticed his gaze, buried her head even lower, her ears turning completely red. "This is..." Yan Ning looked at Zhao Tishan. Zhao Tishan pushed the girl forward slightly. "My daughter, Zhao Zixuan." Hello, brother Yan Ning." The girl's voice was as soft as a mosquito's buzz. She stole a quick glance at Yan Ning before quickly lowering her head again. Yan Ning was slightly taken aback. Of course he knew Zhao Zixuan. When he was serving, this little girl was only in her early teens, with her hair in pigtails, always following behind him calling out, "Brother Yan Ning, brother Yan Ning." It was only after he went to the front lines that their chances to meet became fewer. He hadn't expected that in the blink of an eye, she would have grown into a young woman. "Az has grown so much," Yan Ning said with emotion. "Hasn't she?" Zhao Tishan pulled his daughter down to sit, the smile on his face gradually fading. Kid, I came today because I have something to ask of you. Yan Ning poured him a cup of water. Please, go ahead. Zhao Tishan was silent for a moment, seemingly weighing his words. After a long while, he finally looked up, staring directly at Yan Ning. I signed up for the conscription 7 days from now. Yan Ning's hand paused. Old Captain, let me finish. Zhao Tishan waved his hand, interrupting him. You know my situation. In that battle 3 years ago, I barely made it back alive, but my foundation was damaged. In these 3 years, my cultivation has regressed instead of progressing. Now I'm only at the level of an intermediate general, I can't even get back to the peak. This time the beast swarm is acting up, and they mean trouble. I've checked, there are at least 3 beast general level monsters at the defense line, led by an advanced beast general. If we old-timers don't step up, who will? Yan Ning frowned. You could use an exemption. Exemption. I used an exemption once, how can I use it a second time? I, Zhao Tishan, cannot afford the shame of being called a deserter. But, no buts. Kid, I didn't come here today to discuss this with you. I came to entrust my child to you. Entrusting the child. These words were like a stone, slamming heavily against Yan Ning's heart. Zhao Tishan turned to look at his daughter. Zhao Zixuan's eyes were already red, and she bit her lip, desperately trying to keep herself from crying. Az's mother passed away early, and I, her father, haven't been capable enough. I've let her suffer with me all these years. There aren't many people I can trust, and after thinking it over, you're the only one. I saw the marriage message you posted. According to your merits and genetic potential, you have to complete the task of reproducing with 3 women within 5 years, right? Yan Ning was stunned and nodded subconsciously. Then it's settled. Zhao Tishan slapped his thigh. Az will marry you. It will help you complete your task, it's the best of both worlds. Old Captain, this. Yan Ning snapped out of it and hurriedly said, don't joke around, I. Zhao Tishan glared at him. Do I look like I'm joking? If I didn't see that you were almost as handsome as I was in my youth, and that your character is beyond reproach, do you think I would introduce Az to you? Do you really think I'm selling my daughter? For a moment, Yan Ning didn't know what to say. Zhao Tishan turned to look at his daughter and sighed. Ahem, plus Az has liked you since she was little, so it works out perfectly. She doesn't say it, but how could a father not see what's going on in her little head? Yan Ning looked at Zhao Zixuan. The girl looked up quickly and then lowered her head just as fast. Shen Yao had come out of the inner room at some point, leaning against the doorframe, looking at Zhao Zixuan and then at Yan Ning, the corners of her mouth curling slightly. Brother Ning, she spoke softly. Yan Ning looked at her. Shen Yao smiled slightly, walked over to take Zhao Zixuan's hand, sized her up, and nodded with satisfaction. It's quite good. There are 2 spots left anyway, what does it matter who you marry? I like Sister Az at first sight. Yan Ning opened his mouth. He was a man with principles. Our Az has an apprentice level 6 genetic talent. If you marry her, wouldn't that be improving the genes of your Yan family? You should be laughing in your sleep. Apprentice level 6. What did apprentice level 6 mean? It meant a chance to give birth to offspring with even higher genetic potential. If he waited for Shen Yao to give birth one by one, it would take forever. And with the remaining 2 spots, at Yan Ning's current level, he couldn't match with women of higher genetic potential, and he didn't want to settle and waste the opportunity. But the crisis was constantly approaching, and Yan Ning himself felt the pressure. He hadn't expected his former big brother to actually provide such timely help. Open black lens bracket. If an offspring of apprentice level or higher is born, the reward multiplier will be doubled, close black lens bracket. The system's words echoed in his mind. Principles. To hell with principles. I'm doing this for humanity, for Azure. Even if he was medically retired, he, Yan Ning, could not fade away, he still had to shine on this battlefield of reproduction. All right, old captain, I promise you. Yan Ning stood up, his gaze solemn. Zhao Tishan's eyes turned slightly red. Then get married and register tomorrow. I must have a drink at my son-in-law's wedding feast. Shen Yao held Zhao Zixuan's hand, whispering something to her softly. Zhao Zixuan kept her head down, nodding occasionally and stealing glances at Yan Ning every now and then. Watching this scene, Yan Ning felt a complex mix of emotions. Shen Yao took Zhao Zixuan to the inner room to chat, leaving only Yan Ning and Zhao Tishan in the living room. The two drank tea in silence for a while before Zhao Tishan spoke. "Don't worry about me. This conscription is only for advanced general-level monsters at most, they won't amount to much." Yan Ning didn't respond. Zhao Tishan glanced at him and lowered his voice, "But these two conscriptions are indeed a bit strange. The higher-ups are pushing hard, but the information provided is ambiguous, they can't even clearly state the specific number and types of monsters. Use an exemption if you can. The people from the War God Palace can't spare any hands either. There are king-level monsters active in the north, and the western defense line is also in crisis. We are surrounded by enemies." Yan Ning gripped his teacup tightly. "Old Captain, are you really going?" He stood up and patted Yan Ning's shoulder. "All right, don't think about all that. I have a wedding feast to drink at tomorrow, so cheer up." The next day, the wedding was simple and hurried. There was no grand ceremony. There was no lively banquet. There was only a certificate from the martial artist management office and a bottle of old liquor that Zhao Tishan had kept for many years. "Come, cheers." Zhao Tishan raised his wine cup, his smile hearty. "My daughter has married into a good family, I'm happy." Yan Ning accompanied him, drink after drink. Shen Yao poured wine for the two of them on the side. Zhao Zixuan sat nearby with a flushed face, occasionally looking up at her father, her eyes turning red again. After several rounds of drinks, Zhao Tishan's words gradually became fewer. He put down his wine cup and looked at his daughter for a long time. His voice was a bit raspy. "Dad." Zhao Zixuan's tears finally fell. "Don't cry." Zhao Tishan's rough hand wiped the tears from his daughter's face. "You're married now, you're an adult. Live well, don't let your father worry." Zhao Zixuan nodded frantically, but the tears wouldn't stop flowing down. Zhao Tishan stood up, picked up his military cap from the table, and put it on. He looked back at Yan Ning, nodded, said nothing, and strode out the door. Zhao Zixuan chased him to the door, watching her father's back disappear at the end of the hallway, finally unable to help but cover her mouth. Yan Ning walked over and gently put his arm around her shoulder. "Don't worry," he said softly. Zhao Zixuan leaned on his shoulder and cried silently for a long time. Outside the window, light patterns on the sky flickered slightly, and a dull roar came from the distance. Chapter 6, Critical Hit Reward, Planetary Level Arc Blade Disc. It was night. Yan Ning looked at the person in front of him, his Adam's apple bobbing unconsciously. Zhao Zixuan stood by the bed, wearing, how should one put it, a lace mask, black and white contrast, a living, breathing, quirky little enchantress. Yan Ning knew this girl had been restless since she was a child. He thought a 20-year-old young woman should be more mature and stable, but who knew she would still pull a stunt like this? "Brother." Zhao Zixuan tilted her head, her voice soft and sweet. Her eyes behind the mask were bright, carrying a hint of a mischievous smile. Yan Ning took a deep breath. Who could endure this? "Hey, you little demon, take this." Zhao Zixuan let out a soft cry and laughingly tried to hide in his arms, but she was held tight. The next morning, Zhao Zixuan was curled up in Yan Ning's arms, sleeping soundly. Although she was also a martial artist, her stamina was still a far cry from Yan Ning's war general level. In the intense battle of the previous night, she could barely keep up with the rhythm in the early stages, but by the late stage, she was left with nothing but passive defense. An excellent support can let the marksman roam freely. But when the marksman's output is too explosive, the support can only lie down obediently. The winner, naturally, was Yan Ning. He turned his head, looking at the quiet sleeping face of the person in his arms, the corners of his mouth turning up unconsciously. Then he closed his eyes, his consciousness sinking into his mind as he habitually scanned the system panel. Then he froze. Open black lens bracket critical hit reward for branching out mission. Obtained lucky draw chance ×1 close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket note. During the branching out Mission: there is a certain probability of obtaining lucky draw attempts during the reproduction process of the host's first 10 offspring, with a smaller probability of triggering a critical hit reward. Close black lens bracket. There's even such a thing. Yan Ning snapped his eyes open, then closed them again, carefully reading the expanded details under the mission bar. Previously, he had always thought that rewards were only triggered upon the birth of offspring. He didn't expect the reproduction process itself to have a chance to drop items. And, a critical hit. He looked down at Zhao Zixuan in his arms and couldn't help but kiss her on the forehead. "Az, you really are my lucky star." Yan Ning gently withdrew his arm, rolled out of bed, and walked quickly into the bathroom. After finishing his morning routine, he took a deep breath and muttered in his heart. Draw. The system panel expanded once more, and 4 options slowly rotated in the void realm. Open black lens bracket material close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket law close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket tool close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket other close black lens bracket. 3 seconds later, the pointer stopped on open black lens bracket tool close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket. Congratulations to the host for obtaining a critical hit reward. Planetary level arc blade disc ×1 close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket reward has been issued to the system space and can be accessed at any time. Close black lens bracket. Planetary level. Yan Ning's pupils constricted, and his heart rate accelerated. He thought it would be good enough to draw a war general level weapon, but he didn't expect to get a planetary level 1 directly, and a psychic weapon at that. The bathroom really has some special luck to it. Yan Ning was beyond excited. He turned back to the bedroom and gave Zhao Zixuan a fierce kiss amidst her dazed protests. Then he ran to the next room and also kissed Shen Yao, who was eating breakfast, on the cheek. "What are you doing?" Shen Yao blushed as she wiped the saliva off her face. Yan Ning laughed loudly and strode out the door. Inside the training room, Yan Ning was in no hurry to use the arc blade disc. Instead, he first took out 9 flying daggers and seriously practiced the Yunmo Remnants Basic 36 styles 3 times. The flying daggers shuttled through the air like dragons, carving out sharp arcs. After more than 20 days of hard training, he had mastered the 36 styles to perfection, and controlling 9 flying daggers simultaneously was now effortless. Only with a solid foundation can one master better weapons. Yan Ning put away the flying daggers, his gaze landing on the system space. Arc blade disc, withdraw. A silver-white light blossomed in the training room. It was a ring-shaped weapon about 1 meter in diameter. 6 curved blades were evenly distributed around the outer edge, each densely covered with precise patterns. And on the inner side of the ring-shaped main body, 360 silver blades the size of fingernails were densely embedded, arranged neatly like fish scales. The entire arc blade disc hovered in midair like a piece of art. Planetary level. Yan Ning murmured to himself, his eyes burning with intensity. With a thought, his psychic power surged out and poured into the arc blade disc. At that moment, he felt a massive resistance. The arc blade disc was like a sleeping giant beast, and Yan Ning's psychic power, by comparison, was like a small stream trying to push a 10,000-ton ship. A planetary-level weapon's demand for psychic power far exceeded his current level. "No, it's too much." Yan Ning grit his teeth and condensed his psychic power into a single line. He stopped trying to drive the entire arc blade disc and instead focused his attention on one small blade on the outer edge. Just one. One was enough. The psychic power wrapped around it like threads of silk. That small silver blade vibrated slightly, emitting a crisp hum. "Rise." Yan Ning gave a low shout, the veins on his forehead bulging. The small blade wobbled and finally detached from the ring, hovering shakily in midair. Success. Yan Ning stabilized his psychic power and began trying to control this tiny blade. The blade rotated slowly in the air, its speed getting faster and faster, and its trajectory becoming smoother. Yan Ning tried to make it move according to the trajectory of the basic 36 styles. Whir! A sharp sound of breaking air rang out, and the blade, like a silver bolt of lightning, headed straight for the wall. "Stop!" Yan Ning hurriedly withdrew his strength. But the blade was too fast. Before the command could even be transmitted, the blade edge had already sliced into the wall. The silver blade sank silently into the alloy wall of the training room like it was cutting through tofu, leaving only a thin slit. Yan Ning was stunned. He walked quickly to the wall and reached out to touch the slit. The cut was as smooth as a mirror, without even a single burr. This was a training room wall that could withstand the full attack of an elementary junior war general. Yan Ning took a deep breath and controlled the blade again, this time without holding back. The blade flew out of the wall, performed a swivel in the air, and headed straight for the alloy target on the other side. Squelch. A soft sound. That half-meter thick alloy target was sliced cleanly into two halves from top to bottom. The cut surface was also as smooth as a mirror, just like the wall. Yan Ning stood in the center of the training room, looking at the two pieces of the target that had crashed to the ground, and remained silent for a long time. Then he smiled, a very happy smile. Senior warrior general. Even the protective armor of a senior warrior general wouldn't be able to withstand this, right? With the planetary-level arc blade disc, let alone a senior warrior general, even if a god of war came, they would bleed if they tried to tank it. And Yan Ning had 360 such small blades in his hand. Although Yan Ning could currently only control 9 blades. It was exactly the limit of the basic 36 styles, but these 9 planetary-level blades were already enough for him to walk tall in Nanjong Base City. Even if the third conscription comes, there's nothing to be afraid of. Yan Ning recalled the blades and stretched his muscles. The old captain was right. After the second conscription, the third would likely come even faster. Once his 2 exemptions were used up, he would have to go to the front line when the next conscription order came down. But now, Yan Ning had much more confidence. With the arc blade disc in hand, let alone a beast general level monster, even if a lord class came. Yan Ning paused, deciding it was better not to get too ahead of himself. Lord class corresponded to the god of war level. At his current level, a head-on clash with a lord class was still a bit uncertain. But at least, he had the capital to maneuver. Time. I still need time. He sat back down cross-legged and began trying to control the 10th blade. If he could control more blades, if he could perfectly integrate the basic 36 styles with the arc blade disc, that would be true crushing power. Chapter 7. Answering the call, heading to the front line. 20 days passed in the blink of an eye. Shen Yao's pregnancy was already showing. She subconsciously supported her waist when she walked. Zhao Zixuan was also pregnant, just 1 month along, and was in the stage of constant sleepiness, lounging in bed every day, reluctant to get up. Yan Ning's life became disciplined and fulfilling. Under his daily bitter cultivation, his control over the arc blade disc was making steady progress. The 10th blade, the 12th blade, the 15th blade. By the 20th day, he could simultaneously control 18 small blades, bringing the power of the basic 36 forms to a whole new level. 18 silver streaks of light shuttled and interlaced within the training room, the shrill whistles of cutting through the air rising one after another. Meanwhile, his psychic power cultivation had already reached the peak of the 3rd rank apprentice, only 1 step away from the 4th rank. Regarding his physical body, the damage to his meridians had been completely repaired, his gene origin energy flowed smoothly and without obstruction, and his physical fitness was even a notch stronger than it had been at his peak. The current Yan Ning possessed a completely different level of combat power compared to 2 months ago. The 21st day. The conscription order arrived. Open black lens bracket martial artist Yan Ning, serial number NX0721. The concentration of beast swarms on the outskirts of Nanjong Base City has reached the warning threshold. According to the martial artist conscription management regulations, you have been included in the 3rd mobilization list. Please report to the Nanjong Base City Martial Artist Management Office within 3 days. Close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket current number of exemptions, 0 close black lens bracket. Red characters surfaced on the holographic screen once again. Shen Yao and Zhao Zixuan stood behind Yan Ning. When they saw that line of text, their faces turned pale instantly. How can it be so fast? It's only been 20 days since the 2nd conscription. Didn't they say there would be a 2-month gap before the 3rd? Shen Yao remained silent for a while, her voice tight. Brother Ning, didn't the organization require you to produce 3 offspring within 5 years? You haven't even completed the basic reproduction task, yet they're sending martial artists to the front line like this. Isn't that contrary to policy? Looking at the worried faces of the 2 women, Yan Ning's heart softened. He walked over, putting an arm around each of them and gently pulling them into his embrace. Don't worry. The situation isn't as serious as you think. The rapid arrival of the conscription precisely indicates that those above are confident. If things had truly reached an unmanageable state, it wouldn't be a conscription of martial artists but a full-scale evacuation. Shen Yao looked at him skeptically. Yan Ning smiled and turned to walk toward the table. A water cup on the table floated up silently, suspended in midair and rotating slowly. The water inside the cup didn't ripple at all, as if held steadily by an invisible hand. Shen Yao and Zhao Zixuan's eyes widened simultaneously. This is psychic power. I've awakened. I am currently an advanced warrior level psyker master, Yan Ning said calmly. With a thought, the water cup traced a circle in the air and landed steadily back on the table. The 2 women looked at each other, momentarily at a loss for words. A psyker master. In this world, a psyker master represented being invincible among peers and capable of killing those at higher levels. An advanced warrior level psyker master's value even exceeded that of an intermediate general. So, don't worry, your husband is very powerful now. It's just the 3rd conscription, I'll be back before long. Shen Yao's eyes reddened, and she nodded vigorously. Zhao Zixuan threw herself into his arms and said gloomily, then promise me, you must come back. I promise you. Yan Ning patted her back. The child isn't even born yet, how could I bear to let anything happen? Outside the window, the light patterns on the sky canopy still flickered slightly from time to time. Yan Ning's mind was calm. The arc blade disc floated quietly within the system space. What he was thinking about now wasn't how to come back alive, but rather how many of his blades those blind monsters could withstand. Nanjong Base City, Martial Artist Assembly Point. Before dawn, a long queue had already formed outside the assembly point. This was a large plaza on the east side of the base city. Usually used for martial artist commendation ceremonies or gene-matching exchange meetings, today it had been temporarily requisitioned as the gathering point for conscripted martial artists. Temporary floodlights were set up around the plaza. By the time Yan Ning arrived, nearly 200 people had already gathered on the plaza. He scanned the crowd, most were unfamiliar faces, young, old, wearing various combat suits. Some were relaxed, some looked nervous. Others leaned against the walls with expressionless faces, eyes closed to rest their spirits. Several staff members in base city uniforms shuttled through the crowd, shouting at the top of their lungs. All martial artists, please find your assembly area according to the group number on your communicators. Area A is on the east side, Area B is on the west side, and Area C is in the middle. Do not wander around, and do not cut in line. Yan Ning looked down at the grouping on his communicator. Area C, 7th Squad, Captain. He raised an eyebrow slightly. Captain. A medically retired junior war general like him was actually assigned as a captain. But on second thought, it made sense. Among the 200 people conscripted this time, warrior level made up the vast majority. There weren't many general level to begin with, so those assigned to captain positions would naturally be these generals. Following the flow of people to Area C, Yan Ning found the assembly point for the 7th Squad. There was a long table with a holographic projector on it, and a few bottles of water and some compressed dry rations placed beside it. Not long after, a staff member in a base city uniform ran over and projected a map onto the table. Everyone, please pay attention. I will go over the mission arrangements for this time. On the holographic map, the outline of Nanjong Base City was clearly visible, with 2 striking red dots marked to the northeast. There are 2 mission areas for this conscription. The first is 80 kilometers northeast of the base city, coordinate point K17. According to reconnaissance feedback, approximately 10 beast general level frost giant bears have gathered there, along with a significant number of beast soldier level monsters. Your mission is to clear them out, wipe out this nest, or at least drive them past the warning line. The second location is 240 kilometers northeast of the base city, coordinate point M09. This is a reconnaissance node. The mission is relatively simple. Investigate the distribution of monsters, record their types, numbers, and activity tracks. Active clearing is not required. But be warned, the situation there is more complex than K-17. We haven't conducted a systematic reconnaissance of the deep areas for 3 months. No one can say for sure what is inside. The staff member's gaze swept over the gathered martial artists as he added, the 2 missions will be randomly assigned. Which one you are assigned to depends on your squad's number. Ning glanced at the mission details on his communicator. 7th Squad, K-17. 80 kilometers, clearing mission. 10 beast general level frost giant bears. He calculated silently in his mind. Frost giant bears were a relatively troublesome type among beast general levels, thick-skinned, incredibly strong, and capable of releasing cold air to slow enemies down. 10 of them gathered together was indeed a tough nut to crack. However, he noticed a detail: there were no war god level martial artists. In a team of 200, there were only a dozen or so war general level, and not a single war god level. Other martial artists noticed this too, and one whispered, "There's no war god overseeing this." A veteran nearby sneered, "Isn't it better without a war god? If a war god were personally overseeing this, that's when we should really worry. If a war god is deployed, it means the situation has become so serious it's uncontrollable, and people like us would just be going as cannon fodder to fill the holes." As soon as these words were spoken, several people around let out a sigh of relief. Chapter 8, Martial Artist Squad. Ning listened without speaking. He agreed with the logic, but there was an indescribable feeling in his heart. 10 beast general level gathered together, without a god of war overseeing things, relying only on a dozen or so war generals and 200 soldiers to take them down. Did the higher-ups in the base city truly think they could take them down, or did they never intend for all of them to return? Ning stayed wary but didn't overthink it, nor was he in a hurry to reveal his strength. The first rule he learned from 10 years of struggling on the front lines was never to let others know your trump cards. If the crisis wasn't great, then having him wouldn't be much, and lacking him wouldn't be a loss. How much impact could a junior war general have on a battlefield of 200 people? If the crisis was great, then there was even less need for him to speak up. Speaking up would be useless. Instead, it would only make the higher-ups notice him and assign him even more dangerous missions. A wise man does not stand under a crumbling wall. Ning found a corner to sit in and waited quietly for the assignment. The results of the assignment came out quickly. The other squad leaders were all veteran war generals who mostly knew each other, and they formed their teams quickly. Who was it? Ning. You're in Area C, Squad 7. The staff member clicked twice in the system and assigned him to the last team that hadn't finished forming. Ning walked over and saw his 5 team members. 4 men and 1 woman, all very young. The oldest looked to be no more than 23 or 24. Wearing brand new combat suits and well equipped, they were clearly students who had just graduated from a martial arts university. Hot-blooded youths, the kind of consumables who actively responded to the conscription. Ning sighed silently in his heart. It wasn't that he looked down on newcomers. It was just that when it came to wilderness survival, what was taught in textbooks and what was actually encountered were 2 completely different things. Those from martial arts universities had high growth potential and strong plasticity. But similarly, their combat experience was still far too lacking compared to martial artists from martial arts halls. "Hello, Captain." A young man with a buzz cut was the first to speak, his voice loud and standing straight. "I'm Joe Hai, intermediate soldier, specializing in close combat, and I use an alloy combat saber." Lin Xiaowen, intermediate soldier. The only girl had her hair in a ponytail and carried an alloy crossbow. Long-range support. Zhao Meng, intermediate soldier. The largest boy said in a thick voice, holding a half-person high alloy shield. "I can hold the line." Sun Haoran, intermediate soldier. The young man wearing glasses pushed up his frames. Responsible for fire support. "I brought 2 heavy Gauss machine guns for fire support." The last to speak was the youngest, looking only in his early 20s. Chen Fei, elementary soldier, just graduated. I can do anything, I'll listen to the captain. 5 people, 4 men and 1 woman, 3 intermediates and 1 elementary, all from a martial arts university. Yan Ning looked them over. 5 pairs of eyes were fixed on him, filled with expectation, nervousness, and even a hint of defiance. Then again, a medically retired junior war general leading 5 top students from a martial arts university, anyone would have their doubts. Everyone, sit down. It's still early, let's talk first. Yan Ning pointed to a nearby bench and sat down himself. The 5 looked at each other and sat down as told. Is this the first wilderness mission for all of you? Yan Ning asked. Yes, Zhou Hai answered the fastest. But we've done wilderness survival training in school, the simulated combat kind. Simulated combat and the real thing are 2 different matters. The wilderness is not a training ground. Monsters don't follow textbook patterns. You can let what I'm about to say go in one ear and out the other, but if anyone loses their life because they didn't listen, don't blame me for not warning you. The atmosphere immediately grew heavy. Sun Haoran pushed up his glasses and looked at Yan Ning seriously. Captain, please go ahead. Yan Ning held up his first finger. First, don't try to be a hero. If you encounter a monster you can't beat, run. If you can't run, hold it off and wait for backup. If anyone thinks they can solo an advanced beast soldier, I'll kick them out of the squad right now. Zhou Hai opened his mouth as if to say something, but Lin Xiaowen nudged him with her elbow, and he shut it. Second, don't be greedy. Yan Ning held up a second finger. You've all seen the subsidy policy for this mission. If the average harvest per person is below 2 million, the subsidy is 5%. Below 5 million, it's 8%. Above 10 million, it's 12%. Sounds very tempting, doesn't it? The eyes of several people flickered. Yan Ning sneered. I'm telling you, that 12% subsidy is prepared for those who come back alive. Calculating whether it's worth risking your life to take on a tough nut you shouldn't be cracking just to earn a bit more money, you can do the math yourselves. Chen Fei shrank his neck. Captain, we're not greedy. It's best if you aren't. Yan Ning held up a third finger. Third, use your brains. Don't think about going head to head with those beasts. You're from a martial arts university, so you should have studied monster habits. The frost giant bear possesses immense strength but turns slowly. Beast soldier level iron-backed wolves are fast, but their bellies are their weakness. Use guerrilla tactics, utilize the terrain, and trade the minimum cost for the maximum result. Do you understand? Understood. The 5 responded in unison. Yan Ning nodded. Just as he was about to continue, he thought of something else. After a moment's hesitation, he spoke up to advise them. There's one more thing. In the wilderness, never turn your back on anyone except the teammates you trust. The 5 were stunned. How was this different from what they were taught in school? Aren't you supposed to always trust your teammates? Zhou Hai frowned. Captain, are you worried that someone will stab us in the back? Order is the norm in most cases. But you must remember, there are no laws or surveillance in the wilderness, only the law of the jungle. There are always some people who feel that taking out a few fellow martial artists in the wild is a faster way to make money than killing monsters. Your equipment, supplies, and even the gene origin energy cores in your bodies are all valuable items in the eyes of some. Lin Xiaowen's face turned pale. But, we're all humans. The gap between humans is sometimes even greater than the gap between humans and monsters. But don't be too nervous, those scumbags are a minority after all. Since you're with me, I have an obligation to bring you back safely. As long as you follow orders and don't act recklessly, I guarantee that not one of the 5 of you will be missing. The 5 had different expressions, but the way they looked at Yan Ning was clearly more convinced than before. Captain, Zhao Meng suddenly asked, I heard, you survived the Nanzhong meat grinder war 3 years ago. Yan Ning glanced at him and didn't deny it. Yes, I heard a lot of people died in that battle. Chen Fei said softly, 30% died. In the 7th defense line where I was stationed, less than half survived. That's also where my foundation was damaged, otherwise, I wouldn't have been medically retired. The others fell silent for a few seconds. Zhou Hai stood up and gave Yan Ning a serious salute. Captain, we're with you. The others stood up one after another. The lingering traces of arrogance on their faces had vanished, replaced by a sense of seriousness and solemnity. Chapter 9, First Cooperation, Beast Soldiers Attack. Yan Ning waved his hand. Enough, drop the formalities. Since you're following me, you have to listen to me. Now, one by one, tell me your specific equipment and combat styles. The more detailed, the better. I'll go first. Zhou Hai was the first to step forward, patting the alloy battle saber at his waist. A3 grade battle saber, issued by the school. It feels natural in my hand. Speed is my advantage. I can do a 100-meter sprint in under 3.8 seconds. During the school's practical combat assessment, my thrusting score was an A. Yan Ning nodded. Being fast is a good thing, but don't just focus on charging. A frost giant bear's frost aura can slow you down. If you charge too fast and get frozen, you'll be a sitting duck. For now, stay behind me. Don't charge until I say so. Yes. Next. Lin Xiaowen took a step forward and removed the alloy crossbow from her back. Modified A2 grade crossbow, effective lethal range of 300 meters. It's equipped with armor-piercing bolts and high-explosive bolts. The armor-piercing ones can break through the hide of a beast soldier level, while the high-explosive ones are mainly for creating chaos. Within 300 meters, I can guarantee over a 90% hit rate. Yan Ning glanced at her crossbow and frowned. A2 grade armor-piercing bolts are basically useless against the beast general level. High-explosive bolts can act as a distraction, but don't expect them to deal substantial damage. Your task is long-range scouting and early warning. Report immediately upon seeing a beast general level. Do not fire without orders. Understood. My turn. Zhao Meng raised his alloy shield. A2 grade tower shield. It can withstand a frontal impact from an intermediate beast soldier. My strength is relatively high, so I can hold the line. Yan Ning tapped the surface of the shield and said thoughtfully, holding the line is fine, but don't try to tank everything. Head on. A single swipe from a frost giant bear carries at least a dozen tons of force. This shield won't hold up. When the time comes, if I tell you to retreat, retreat. Don't hesitate. Zhao Meng gave a simple, honest smile. Captain, I'm a slow runner. Even if you're slow, you have to run. I'll take the rear when the time comes. You guys retreat first. Don't argue with me, that's an order. Yes. Sun Haoran said, lightweight Gauss machine gun. The ammunition is 5mm tungsten core rounds, with a theoretical rate of fire of 2,000 rounds per minute. The advantage is high fire density, but the disadvantage is high energy consumption. This spare battery can only support 3 minutes of continuous firing. My role is fire suppression. I'm not good at close combat. Yan Ning looked at the machine gun, then at Sun Haoran's scholarly appearance. You're a graduate of a martial arts university. Why did you choose the position of a gunner? Sun Haoran smiled bitterly. My physical fitness is average, and I barely passed the close combat assessment. But I got perfect scores in firearm assembly and trajectory calculation. The instructor said I'm suited for the technical route. All right. Gunners are indeed in demand in the wilderness. But you must remember, once that machine gun fires, you become a primary target for the monsters. After opening fire, don't stay in one spot for more than 10 seconds. Move as soon as you're done shooting. Understood? Understood. Finally, it was Chen Fei's turn. He was clearly nervous, not knowing where to put his hands. Captain, I'm an elementary warrior. My equipment is also the school standard A1 grade battle saber and light armor. I'm willing to do anything, I just don't have much experience. Yan Ning sized him up and asked, what level have you cultivated your guiding technique to? The second level. Chen Fei's voice grew smaller and smaller. What about speed? Strength? 100 meters. 4.5 seconds. Punching force, around 800 kilograms. Yan Ning made a silent assessment in his mind. Standard level for an elementary warrior, not high, not low, just average. All right. He patted Chen Fei's shoulder. Lack of experience doesn't matter, you'll learn slowly on the battlefield. But there's one thing, you must stay close to me. Don't fall behind. I don't expect you to kill many monsters, I only expect you to come back alive. Chen Fei nodded vigorously. With the 5 of them finished introducing themselves, Yan Ning spent another 10 minutes reorganizing each of their positions and responsibilities. Zhou Hai was in front, responsible for scouting and probing attacks. Zhao Meng was on the flank, responsible for protecting Sun Heoran, the fire point. Lin Xiaowen was on the rear high ground, responsible for long-range support and early warning. Sun Heoran was in the center, responsible for fire suppression. Chen Fei followed Yan Ning, responsible for supplies and emergencies. Remember, in the wilderness, the only people you can trust are the 5 people in this squad. Yan Ning said one last time, no matter what happens, do not scatter, do not fall behind. Is that clear? Understood. Yan Ning nodded and turned to look at the center of the plaza. The main force had already begun to move. The contingent of over 200 people marched grandly through the eastern gate of the base city, heading northeast. In the distance, the base city's canopy shimmered in the morning light. Beyond the canopy lay a gray, desolate wilderness. The ruins of abandoned cities, highways, and dried-up riverbeds were all faintly visible through the morning mist. Yan Ning narrowed his eyes and glanced in that direction. 80 kilometers away, 10 frost giant bears. 240 kilometers away, an unknown scouting node. His intuition told him that this mission wouldn't be that simple. Let's go, he said. The 6 of them merged into the main force and stepped out of the base city's gate. Area K-17, an abandoned industrial zone. Collapsed factories, rusted steel frames, transport vehicles swallowed by vines. What was a satellite city 10 years ago was now only dead silence. The air was thick with the smell of rot, and low roars occasionally drifted from the distance. Yan Ning's squad was responsible for a factory area on the eastern side of the zone. The 5 of them followed behind him. Their formation was relatively tidy, but the nervousness on everyone's faces was impossible to hide. Maintain formation. Watch the flanks. Yan Ning walked in the middle of the squad. Zhou Hai led the way at the front, his battle saber unsheathed. Zhao Meng held his tower shield to protect Sun Heoran's side, while Lin Xiaowen climbed to the top floor of a factory building and set up her crossbow. Chen Fei followed closely behind Yan Ning, his palms drenched in sweat. Captain, 5 biological signals, 120 meters ahead. Lin Xiaowen's voice came through the communicator. Before her voice had even faded, 5 iron-backed wolves lunged out from the ruins. Their gray-brown scales shimmered with an oily sheen, and their blood-red eyes stared fixedly at the squad. 5 elementary beast soldiers. Handle them yourselves. Yan Ning took 2 steps back and leaned against a concrete pillar. Huh. Chen Fei was dumbfounded. What? Huh. It's just 5 elementary beast soldiers. Can't you handle them? Zhou Hai gritted his teeth and was the first to charge out. Zhao Meng, take the front. Sun Heoran, fire suppression. Lin Xiaowen, long-range sniping. Chen Fei, follow behind and finish them off. The battle erupted instantly. Zhao Meng's tower shield withstood the frontal impact, and Sun Heoran's Gauss machine gun poured out fire. However, his accuracy was poor. The 5 iron-backed wolves were spread out, and less than 30% of the rounds actually hit. One iron-backed wolf, hit in the hind leg, was enraged and turned to pounce on Sun Heoran. Watch out. Zhou Hai arrived just in time, his saber slashing into the iron-backed wolf's neck. The blade cut through the scales, and foul blood sprayed out. First kill. But the remaining 4 had already adjusted their formation. 2 pinned down Zhao Meng. 2 circled to the flank. Flank. Lin Xiaowen fired a bolt, hitting one of the flanking iron-backed wolves right in the eye, piercing into its brain. The second one fell, but the other one had already lunged in front of Sun Heoran. Get back. Zhou Hai rushed over and forced the iron-backed wolf back with a slash, but his own shoulder was sliced open by a wolf claw. Zhou Hai is injured. Chen Fei gripped his battle saber and was about to charge forward. Don't move. Yan Ning barked at him. Zhao Meng, hold those 2 in front. Lin Xiaowen, shoot the injured one. Sun Heoran, don't panic. Adjust your angle. Zhao Meng pushed up with his tower shield, knocking one iron-backed wolf over. Lin Xiaowen's second bolt pierced the belly of another iron-backed wolf. Sun Haoran steadied the machine gun and, with a short burst, turned the last one into a sieve. Seeing things were going south, the last one turned and fled. Chapter 10, Beast Tide Riot, Apprentice Rank 4 Psyker Master, Harvest Time. Should we pursue? Zhou Hai asked. Pursue? For what? Treat your wounds first, then gather the loot. It's just one that got away, it's not worth it. Zhou Hai gave a couple of dry chuckles, his face contorting from the pain of his injury. Materials from an elementary beast soldier are worth about 5 to 8,000 a set, Lin Xiaowen calculated. 5 of them makes about 40,000. Split between 6 people, that's over 6,000 each. The group looked at each other. They had fought tooth and nail to kill 5 monsters, only to walk away with 6,000 credits per person. Now you know how hard it is to earn money, don't you? Yan Ning said leisurely. The group fell silent for a moment. Your coordination was decent. For a first real combat experience, reaching this level is a passing grade. The eyes of the 5 youngsters lit up. However, there are still many issues. Sun Haoran, your fire coverage is too narrow. Go back and practice your spray fire properly. Zhao Meng, don't just stand there tanking with your shield. Learn to move and kite. Lin Xiaowen, your firing interval is too long. 4 seconds is enough for an iron-backed wolf to pounce right onto your face. Yan Ning glanced at the wound on Zhou Hai's shoulder. You're too reckless. That strike could have been delivered from the side, but you insisted on a head-on clash. You aren't Zhao Meng, don't confront monsters head-on without a shield. Zhou Hai scratched his head sheepishly. And you, Chen Fei. You're an elementary warrior, what's the point of charging in other than adding another corpse to the pile? Remember your position, resupply, emergency support, and finishing blows. Chen Fei nodded earnestly. All right, keep moving. Remember the feeling you just had. Aim for 0 casualties in the next wave. Over the next few hours, the squad advanced steadily. With the experience from the first fight, the coordination among the 5 became increasingly seamless. Zhou Hai stopped being reckless, using his speed to harass and kite the enemies. Zhao Meng learned to use angles to deflect force with his shield. Sun Haoran adjusted his firing mode, significantly expanding his fire coverage. Lin Xiaowen's firing rhythm stabilized at 1 shot every 3 seconds. During those 5 or 6 hours, they encountered an intermediate beast soldier, an armored lizard. It took the 5 of them nearly 10 minutes of coordination to take it down. Beautiful. Zhao Meng slammed his shield in excitement. This one's crystal core alone is worth 20,000. Lin Xiaowen's lips curled upward. Sun Haoran pushed up his glasses. Our total haul is about 1 million now. 1 million. Split 6 ways, that was about 160 or 70,000 per person. As rookies fresh out of school, when had they ever seen this much money? Chen Fei hugged his bulging backpack, his face beaming. Captain, at this rate, we could break 5 million today. Yan Ning glanced at him but said nothing. Zhou Hai wiped the blood from his combat blade, looking high-spirited. Once this mission is over, I'm going to buy an A4 grade combat blade. I'll keep on cultivating and killing monsters. One day, I'll become a god of war and shed my blood for humanity. All right, let's get through this current hurdle first. Let's go, keep advancing. As they moved deeper into the factory area, monsters became more numerous and their ranks higher. Intermediate beast soldiers appeared in packs. The 5 of them found it increasingly difficult to cope, as every battle drained a massive amount of stamina and ammunition. Yan Ning still hadn't made a move, only giving instructions at critical moments. Zhou Hai, the one on the left, is trying to flank. Block its path in advance. Zhao Meng, don't take it head-on. Take 3 steps to the right and let it miss. Lin Xiaowen, shoot the big one first. Leave the small one to Sun Haoran. Under his command, the 5 of them managed to grind through one tough challenge after another. Captain, were you a commander on the front lines before? Zhou Hai asked, panting heavily, his eyes full of admiration. Something like that. I feel like with you here, our combat effectiveness has at least doubled. Zhao Meng laughed heartily. Sun Haoran nodded. The captain's ability to read the battlefield is at least 3 seconds faster than ours. That 3-second difference is the gap between life and death. Lin Xiaowen didn't speak, but she was convinced of Yan Ning's skill from the bottom of her heart. Yan Ning, however, did not relax. Instead, his expression grew increasingly solemn. This factory area was unnervingly quiet. "Captain, something's ahead." Lin Xiaowen suddenly lowered her voice. In the ruins ahead, a gray figure twice the size of an iron-backed wolf slowly emerged. An advanced beast soldier, an iron-backed wolf king. "Try it. 5 against 1, you can do it." The 5 of them gritted their teeth and fell into formation. But an advanced beast soldier was a completely different concept. The iron-backed wolf king was incredibly fast. Zhao Meng's tower shield only withstood 2 hits before he was knocked back repeatedly. Zhou Hai's blade left only a white mark on its scales. Sun Heoran's Gauss machine gun fired at full blast, but the iron-backed wolf king merely squinted, completely unharmed. "It's no use. We can't break its defense," Sun Heoran said anxiously. "The weaknesses are the belly and the eyes." Lin Xiaowen fired an arrow, but the iron-backed wolf king tilted its head to dodge. The 5 were forced back step by step, their formation starting to crumble. Yan Ning watched from the side, silently evaluating. An advanced beast soldier corresponded to an advanced warrior. With the strength of these 5, it was indeed a stretch. But if they wore it down a bit longer, it wasn't entirely without a chance. Suddenly, his brow furrowed sharply. His psychic power captured an abnormal fluctuation several kilometers away. Almost instantly, a violent eruption of energy occurred. Following that, a dull, thunderous boom echoed from the distance, and the ground trembled. Yan Ning's expression changed instantly. The monsters around them began to riot. In the ruins, underground tunnels, and collapsed workshops, countless low growls erupted simultaneously. Debris tumbled, and dust filled the air. The iron-backed wolf king also felt this aura. Its movements became restless, and its attack frequency spiked. He couldn't delay any longer. With a thought from Yan Ning, a silver blade flew out silently. The blade traced an invisible arc in the air, piercing through the iron-backed wolf king's eye socket and exiting through the back of its head. The iron-backed wolf king's body stiffened for a split second before it crashed to the ground, unable to even let out a whimper. Clean and efficient, a one-shot kill. The 5 of them were completely stunned. The advanced beast soldier they couldn't even damage despite their best efforts was taken down by the captain just like that. Then what were they working so hard for earlier? Zhou Hai was speechless for a long time. Zhao Meng's hands were shaking. "Captain, you are..." And right at that moment, the communication watches on their wrists all rang simultaneously. "Open black lens bracket emergency notice. The scale of the beast riot has exceeded expectations. The clearing mission in Sector K-17 is terminated. All martial artists below War General level, immediately regroup with the main force and retreat to the base city along the designated route. Repeat, those below War General level, retreat immediately, close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket martial artists at War General level and above, please assemble at coordinates M09 for the second phase of the scouting mission, close black lens bracket." Yan Ning ordered, "Retreat is ordered. Go back the way we came as much as possible." "But Captain, a beast riot was happening. A large-scale mobilization of war generals looked extremely dangerous no matter how you sliced it. And Yan Ning was still a medically retired martial artist. Thinking of this, the 5 were filled with worry. Instead of worrying about me, you'd better worry about yourselves. Only after you've retreated to the rear can I truly show what I can do. When I first became a martial artist, I also had an old captain who taught me step by step. That old guy had a foul temper and a foul mouth, but he taught me one thing. The one who knows best when to retreat and when to charge is the one who lives the longest. Now get lost, you rookies. The path of a martial artist is long and difficult." Yan Ning waved them off and walked deeper into the area. Having said that, his psychic power surged forth as he stepped into the rank of an apprentice rank 4 Psyker Master. With the planetary level arc blade disc in hand, even an advanced beast general would be nothing more than a single blade's work. Chapter 11, Slaughtering the Beast General. Yan Ning moved swiftly through the ruins. His psychic power spread out, allowing him to sense every blade of grass and tree within a radius of several hundred meters. Frost giant bear, its strength is roughly between a junior war general and an intermediate general. In the past, I would have had to worry about that beast's cold chi weakening my melee capabilities. But now, with the arc blade disc in hand, taking its life from 100 meters away is just a matter of a single thought. Let's end this quickly, it's still too dangerous out here. The moment those words left his mouth, Yan Ning himself was momentarily stunned. Once upon a time, he was an ordinary warrior who walked on thin ice in the wilderness, having to prepare for the possibility of never returning every time he went out. He used to have to give his all against even an advanced beast soldier, where the slightest lapse in judgment meant eternal damnation. And now, facing a beast general level frost giant bear, his thought was actually to end this quickly. The system had changed not just his strength, but also his mindset. However, Yan Ning quickly reined in this relaxed attitude. His current bit of skill was simply not enough to show off in front of truly powerful experts. In essence, he was still just a medically retired junior war general. His status was insufficient. His right to speak was also insufficient. This conscription was the best proof of that. Once his 2 exemption chances were used up, he had to respond to the call, otherwise, he would be forcibly sent to the battlefield, and even his medical retirement privileges would be stripped away. A single piece of paper from the organization could force him away from his pregnant wives and into this wilderness where he could lose his life at any moment. So, I don't have the right to choose at all. Yan Ning's gaze became profound. The frost giant bear is nothing more than a delivery boy rushing to give me merit points. He calculated rapidly in his mind. The merit from this conscription, plus the extra exemptions granted to medically retired martial artists after serving, should be enough to last until Shenyao and Zhao Zixuan finished giving birth. Shenyao's due date was more than 4 months away, and Zhao Zixuan had just become pregnant, so waiting for the child's birth would take at least 8 months. 8 months. As long as I can hold out for these 8 months. As long as an offspring with apprentice-level genes can be born, I can redeem the system's multiplied rewards. Yan Ning's breathing became slightly hurried. Just the critical hit reward from the reproduction process of the branching out quest had allowed him to draw the planetary-level arc blade disc. What would the actual reward for the birth of the first offspring be? A life fruit, a bloodline agent, or an even higher-level secret technique? At that time, my strength will surely see a new surge. It wouldn't even be impossible to leap into becoming a god of war level expert. By then, who could still use a single order to drag him away from home? Who could still make his pregnant wives live in fear? Of course, there was also the joy of becoming a father mixed in. But he quickly suppressed that softness. With external threats looming, he had to consider more. Strength was the only capital to protect this home. ... Roar. A deafening roar came from several kilometers away, the sound waves causing the rubble in the ruins to rustle and rattle. Yan Ning's psychic power instantly captured that massive life signal. Such good luck. It's right near me, on the open ground ahead. A grayish-white giant bear, over 10 meters tall, was tilting its head back and roaring. A frost giant bear, beast general level. Its body was covered in thick grayish-white fur, each strand as hard as a steel needle. As its thick limbs stepped on the ground, the surrounding temperature was clearly several degrees lower than elsewhere, and there were even tiny ice crystals falling in the air. Yan Ning stopped 200 meters away, hiding behind a half-collapsed wall. 200 meters is enough. He took a deep breath, and his psychic power surged out violently. 3 silver blades slid silently out of his sleeve, hovering in front of him. The frost giant bear seemed to sense something. It jerked its head around, letting out a warning low growl in the direction of Yan Ning. Cold chi surged around it, and a layer of white frost quickly formed on the ground. Too late. With a thought from Yan Ning. The 3 blades shot out simultaneously, silent and fast as lightning. The first blade went straight for the frost giant bear's forehead from the front. The second blade curved from the left, precisely bypassing the giant bear's blind spot and heading straight for the back of its head. The third blade cut in from the right, sealing off all its possible evasion routes. The frost giant bear felt the threat of death and roared wildly. The cold chi around it suddenly erupted, and with it as the center, a visible ice-blue halo expanded outward. The moisture in the air instantly condensed into ice crystals, and a thick layer of ice armor formed on the ground. It wanted to use its cold chi domain to slow down those 3 silver lights. But it was useless. Planetary-level blades were simply not something the cold chi of a beast general level could block. 3 blades, 3 penetrating wounds, all completed almost in the same instant. The frost giant bear didn't even have time to let out a second roar before it crashed heavily to the ground. Less than 10 seconds had passed in total. A beast general level frost giant bear had fallen silently in the ruins just like that. Ning stepped out from his hiding place and came to the side of the giant bear's corpse. He squatted down and skillfully stripped the materials with a dagger. The frost giant bear's crystal core was ice blue, bone-chillingly cold in his palm, and emitted a faint halo. 1 bear, a bit over 10 million. Not bad, that's the milk powder money for the kids. He stood up and glanced at the map on his communication watch. Area K-17 was marked with several distribution points for frost giant bears, each highlighted with a striking red circle. Next to them was a note, dangerous. It is recommended for martial artists of war general level or above to go in teams, or bypass to avoid. Ning took a look, closed the map, and continued walking toward the next red dot. How should he describe this feeling? An unprecedented sense of ease. For the first time, Ning truly felt the terror of the Yunmo planet controller's secret technique and the arc blade disc. Beast general level monsters were like tofu before him, with no room to resist. The communication watch vibrated again. A new broadcast message popped up. Open black lens bracket reminder, at least 6 frost giant bears have been confirmed active in Area K-17. All squads please take care to avoid them and do not act alone. Repeat, do not act alone. Close black lens bracket. Ning glanced at it and closed the message. Not only did he not avoid them, but he actually quickened his pace. 6 of them. Perfect. The merit points from these 6 frost giant bears would be enough for him to safely pass the crisis conscription before the system settlement. ... Half an hour passed. The cluster of red dots on the communication watch was decreasing at an alarming rate. Many squad leaders noticed this scene. What's going on? The frost giant bear signals are disappearing. A squad leader stared at his watch, his brow furrowed. Did the command center use some heavy weaponry? Another person guessed. Doesn't look like it. If it were heavy weapons, we should have been able to hear the commotion. Look at the speed of disappearance, 6 of them, in less than half an hour, all gone. Then what did it? Could it be that some strange creature has mutated and needs to feed? No one could answer that question, but everyone noticed one thing: the roars in their ears were becoming fewer and fewer. Without the harassment of the beast groups, the speed of each squad's advance significantly increased. Regardless, this was a good thing. The squad leaders suppressed the doubts in their hearts and continued to rush toward the next target point according to orders. Chapter 12. Repeated orders, safe withdrawal. 2 figures swept across the high sky, their speed astonishingly fast, leaving only 2 faint trails in the clouds. The 2 were speeding towards the direction of the M09 node when the lean god of war suddenly slowed down and stopped. Old Zhao, wait a moment. Below them was an abandoned industrial zone. Amidst the ruins, a massive gray-white figure crashed to the ground, kicking up clouds of dust. Beside that corpse, a young man wearing an ordinary combat suit was squatting on the ground, skillfully stripping the materials. His movements were extremely fast and his technique precise. Clearly, this was not his first time doing such a thing. But that fallen monster, frost giant bear, the square-faced god of war also stopped, hovering in midair, looking down at this scene from above. Beast general level. A war general level martial artist, solo kill. The 2 did not descend, simply watching quietly from high altitude. The young man finished processing the spoils, stood up, and walked towards the next direction. His pace was steady, his posture relaxed. It even felt a bit like a leisurely stroll. Interesting. The square-faced god of war rubbed his chin. Since when did Nanjong Base City produce such a figure? Look at his hands. There isn't a single trace of close-quarters combat. That frost giant bear only has 3 wounds on it, penetrating wounds on the glabella and the back of the head, and a severed carotid artery. All caused by long-range attacks. That is, psychic power. It can't be anything else. The lean god of war nodded. Controlling weapons from a distance to kill a beast general-level monster, and being able to do it so precisely, this is at least the level of an intermediate general psyker master. I remember there are only about 20 war general-level psyker masters in Nanjong Base City, but this person, he looks very unfamiliar. The square-faced god of war pondered for a moment. Which martial arts hall is he from? Or is he from the 4 major martial arts of Azure? Hard to say. Looking at his equipment, he doesn't seem to have a big background. A5 level flying knives, an ordinary combat suit. Tisk, this configuration is considered shabby even among war general level martial artists. Yet with this shabby configuration, he solo killed a frost giant bear. The two exchanged a look. This young man was not simple at all. Record the coordinates, we'll know once we go back and check. The lean god of war said, marking a location on his communication watch. It's rare to come across such a good seedling. Recommending him to the war god palace will earn us some merit and allow us to build a good relationship. Why not? You never forget about merit. The square-faced god of war shook his head, but he did not object. The two were preparing to leave when the lean god of war suddenly stopped again. By the way, old Zhao. The mess that kid from the Li family made, and now they're making us clean it up. What do you think about this? The square-faced god of war's expression darkened. What else can I think? The organization already said the ruins are unidentified and exploring them is forbidden. Yet that kid, relying on his parents being people from the war god palace, snuck a group of people in. Now, look, the things in the ruins have been disturbed, causing a beast stampede. More than 100 people are dead, and we have to come clean up the mess. As he spoke, a hint of anger crept into his voice. Do they really think others can't see through their little tricks? So many people died, there has to be an explanation. It can't be because his parents are. Enough. Let's discuss this when we get back. Let's stabilize the situation first. The two stopped talking, their figures rising again, turning into 2 streams of light, speeding towards the direction of the M09 node. Below, Ning was walking through the ruins, completely unaware of everything that had happened above his head. On his communication watch, another red dot dimmed. The 7th one. ... Half an hour later, Ning finished off the last frost giant bear marked on the map and was planning to find a place to rest for a while when his communication watch vibrated again. Open black lens bracket emergency notice. All martial artists of war general level and above, please immediately assemble at coordinate M09-3 node. Repeat, immediately proceed to assemble, close black lens bracket. Ning frowned. He looked at the map on his watch. That node was about 40 kilometers away from his current position. At his speed, it would take about half an hour to rush there at full speed. What the? He muttered under his breath. Just finished clearing all the frost giant bears, and now they are calling for an assembly. The command headquarters rhythm was too chaotic. But complaints were just complaints, he still started moving. As a conscripted martial artist, he knew all too well the consequences of not following orders. Even if he had accumulated a lot of merit before, once judged as disobeying orders, the light penalty would be a deduction of merit and cancellation of exemption status, and the heavy penalty would be being charged as a deserter. This would lead to a military tribunal. A medically discharged martial artist's authority would be completely revoked, and he might even be forcibly drafted into a suicide squad. He could not afford that price. Ning quickened his pace, traveling through the ruins. 40 kilometers was not too far for a war general level martial artist, but it wasn't close either. While traveling, he calculated his gains this time in his mind. A total of 11 frost giant bears, the crystal cores alone were worth over 110 million. Adding in various materials, 250 million should be about right. This number made him feel much better. 250 million federal credits were enough for Shen Yao and AZ to comfortably raise the baby until birth. Once the baby was born and the system reward was obtained, his strength would go up another level. Just as Yan Ning was thinking, his communication watch vibrated again. Open black lens bracket latest notice. The chaos at the MO9-3 node has been controlled, the situation has been properly handled. All martial artists of war general level and below, withdraw to the base city in an orderly manner. Repeat, mission ended, withdraw in an orderly manner. Close black lens bracket. Yan Ning stopped and was stunned for 3 seconds. What? He looked down at his watch to confirm he hadn't misread it. Mission ended, withdraw in an orderly manner. So, he ran for nearly 40 minutes, just got halfway, and was told he didn't need to go. Yan Ning took a deep breath and let it out slowly. Forget it. It's better not to go. He turned around and walked towards the direction of the base city. But the sense of something being wrong in his heart just wouldn't go away. The chaos at the target point had been controlled. What kind of chaos? A chaos that required the emergency mobilization of all war general level martial artists was, properly handled, in less than an hour. Regardless, it was good that it was over. As for the truth, Yan Ning didn't care that much. In the wilderness of this world, countless secrets are buried every day. Those who know too much often die the fastest. After going back this time, before Shen Yao and Az give birth, I will never come out again. Yan Ning touched his bulging backpack, the corners of his mouth slightly raised. Even if the Heavenly King himself comes, don't even think about dragging me out again. 11 frost giant bears, from discovery to resolution, it took less than 2 hours in total. Most of the time was spent traveling, the actual fighting time added up to less than 5 minutes. The slaughter efficiency of a Psyker Master was so exaggerated it made one's scalp tingle. No wonder all the top martial artist squads scrambled to have a Psyker Master as a teammate. Yan Ning sighed. This isn't fighting, it's a harvest. He looked down at his hands. The blades of the arc blade disc were too small, too fast, and the killing was too clean. Those beast general level monsters didn't even have a chance to react before they fell. He didn't even feel any resistance. The blades passed through scales, flesh, and bone as easily as passing through air. This kind of power fascinated him and made him vigilant. Still not enough. Yan Ning clenched his fists. This is just the beginning. Once the baby is born and the system reward is cashed in, he will become even stronger, even stronger. Chapter 13. Invitations from Major Dojos, Base City Counselor. When the silhouette of Nanjong Base City appeared in his vision, Yan Ning finally breathed a sigh of relief. The sky still shimmered with a faint blue halo. The defensive batteries on the city walls stood quietly, everything looked no different from when they had set out. But Yan Ning knew that in just this short day, dozens, perhaps even hundreds of martial artists had remained in the wilderness forever. Identity verification, loot declaration, mission settlement, going through the entire process took another hour or so. By the time he came out of the martial artist management office, the sky had already darkened. 3 days later, Yan Ning was taking a walk with Shen Yao in the neighborhood when his communication watch suddenly vibrated wildly. He looked down to see dozens of unread messages, all of them invitation alerts from major dojos. Open black lens bracket North Great Wilderness Dojo Nanjong Branch, Mr. Yan Ning, in view of your outstanding performance in this recruitment mission, our dojo sincerely invites you to join us. Benefits: a guaranteed 2 billion federal credit per year, 8% cut of the non-responsible squad's earnings, plus an A7 grade combat suit. We look forward to your reply. Close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket Kwangmo Dojo Nanjong Branch, Mr. Yan Ning, our dojo has customized an exclusive joining plan for you, close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket Underground Alliance Nanjong Branch, Mr. Yan Ning, the terms are negotiable, with a guarantee of no less than 2.2 billion, close black lens bracket. Yan Ning read through them one by one, his brow furrowing deeper and deeper. 2 billion, an 8% cut, an A7 grade combat suit. When did he, a sick retired junior war general, become worth this price? What's wrong? Shen Yao noticed his expression, leaned over to take a look, and her eyes instantly widened. This is. Don't worry. Yan Ning put away the watch and patted the back of her hand. I'll look into it more when we get back. But things were far from as simple as he imagined. After returning home, the invitations did not decrease, instead, they grew more numerous. Not only dojos from Nanjong base city, but even branches from several surrounding base cities sent invitations. There were even some private armed organizations whose names he had never heard of that contacted him through various channels. Even more exaggeratedly, some people directly sought out Zhao Zixuan and Shen Yao. Brother Ning. Zhao Zixuan held her communication watch, her expression somewhat dazed. Someone claiming to be from the Baikang Dojo said they want to invite you to join, offering 3 billion a year. How did he know my contact information? Shen Yao also frowned. I have some here too. Quite a few. Yan Ning took their watches and looked at them, his face darkening. These people, in order to find him, had even dug up his wife's contact information. This showed they weren't just sending out random mass messages, but were truly investigating and headhunting him seriously. Don't reply for now. Yan Ning handed the watches back to them. Don't reply to a single one. Why? Zhao Zixuan asked, puzzled. 3 billion, Brother Ning, this. It's precisely because it's so much that we can't rush to reply. Yan Ning shook his head. Right now, I don't even know why they're offering this price. If I agree rashly, something might go wrong. He paused and added, besides, I just want to be with you both right now. We'll talk after the baby is born. Shen Yao and Zhao Zixuan exchanged a look and said nothing more. For the next 7 days, Yan Ning set all the invitations aside. Every day, he accompanied Shen Yao on walks, cooked for Zhao Zixuan, and cultivated the Yunmo remnants in the underground training room, living a peaceful and fulfilling life. But the doubt in his heart grew heavier and heavier. He had checked his battle records. 11 frost giant bears plus some other beast soldiers was indeed a good record, but that was all. There were plenty of people stronger than him. There were plenty of people who killed more than him. This record, at most, could make him slightly famous in the martial artist circle. It could never cause the major dojos to fight over him like crazy. Unless there was something else he didn't know about. The 7th day. Yan Ning was eating breakfast at home when the doorbell rang. He opened the door to find a staff member wearing a base city government uniform standing there, holding a red envelope. Mr. Yan Ning. The staff member's attitude was exceptionally respectful, even carrying a hint of caution. That's me. This is a notice from the base city council hall. Please accept it. The staff member handed over the envelope with both hands. Yan Ning took the envelope and opened it. Inside was a gold-stamped card with the emblem of the base city council hall and several lines of text. Open black lens bracket upon review by the Nanjong Base City Council Hall and reported to the God of War Palace for the record, it is hereby decided to grant the martial artist Yan Ning the honorary title of Base City Councilor. Please report to the council hall for registration within 3 days, close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket attachment. Councilor benefits description, an annual salary of 3 billion federal credit, 1A7 grade combat suit, and 12 privileges including the right to know base city policies, the right to vote on political affairs, and priority for recruitment exemption, close black lens bracket. Yan Ning stared at that card for a full 10 seconds. Base city councilor. He knew what this status meant. In the martial artist system of Nanjong Base City, there were 5 ranks from low to high: Ordinary Warrior, Meritorious Warrior, Honorary Warrior, Base City Councilor, and Base City Chief Councilor. Ordinary Warrior was the entry-level threshold. Over 90% of martial artists stayed at this level their entire lives. Meritorious Warrior required enough kills and achievements to prove one's combat capability. Honorary Warrior required not only strength but also potential. It could be said that genetic potential, development prospects, and contributions to the base city were all indispensable. And the base city councilor was the 4th rank in the entire Nanjong base city martial artist system, second only to the chief councilor. Martial artists of this level were all pillars of Nanjong base city. They enjoyed the right to know and vote on major base city decisions, could prioritize obtaining various cultivation resources, and their number of recruitment exemptions was several times higher than that of ordinary warriors. More importantly, the status of a councilor was itself a symbol of power. In this era where monsters ran rampant, a single word from a counselor could determine the rise or fall of a family and change the fate of a squad. And he, a sick retired junior war general who was worrying about money for baby formula just a few months ago, had actually become a base city councilor. Is this some kind of mistake? Yan Ning asked subconsciously. The staff member quickly shook his head. There is no mistake, Mr. Yan Ning. The notice was issued directly by the council hall. We are only responsible for delivery. If you have any questions, you can consult the council hall during registration. After the staff member left, Yan Ning closed the door and stood in the entryway, silent for a long time. Shen Yao and Zhao Zixuan came out of the inner room, saw the card in his hand, and leaned over to take a look. Base City Councilor. Shen Yao's voice carried disbelief. Brother Ning, I don't know what's going on either. Yan Ning shook his head. Zhao Zixuan snatched the card, looked it over several times, then looked up at Yan Ning. Brother Ning. You're a counselor. A counselor. She was so excited she almost jumped, but Shen Yao caught her. Watch your belly. Yan Ning put the card away, but a storm was raging in his heart. Chapter 14. The one-year term has arrived. Counselor. Yan Ning naturally knew the promotion requirements for this rank. Either a god of war level powerhouse automatically obtains counselor status, or one performs outstanding service during a major mission and receives a joint recommendation from at least 2 current counselors. He wasn't a god of war, nor had he performed any outstanding service. That left only one possibility. 2 current counselors had jointly recommended him. Who were they, and why? Before Yan Ning could think further, his communication watch began to vibrate again. This time, the news was even more insane than before. Open Blacklands bracket North Great Wilderness Dojo Nanjong branch close Blacklands bracket. Mr. Yan Ning, congratulations on being elected as a base city councilor. Our dojo is willing to raise your compensation to a guaranteed 3 billion per year, with a 12% non-liability commission. We look forward to cooperating with you. Open Blacklands bracket Mad Demon Dojo Baikang branch close Blacklands bracket. Mr. Yan Ning, a guaranteed 3.5 billion per year, a 15% non-liability commission, plus a private training room. Open Blacklands bracket Underground Alliance headquarters close Blacklands bracket. Mr. Yan Ning, a guaranteed 4 billion per year, a 16% non-liability commission, customizable combat equipment. If you are interested, we can send a specialist to Nanjong to talk with you in person. 4 billion, 16% non-liability commission. These numbers could no longer be explained by mere headhunting. This was blatant begging. Yan Ning took a deep breath and turned off his communication watch. He sat on the sofa, closed his eyes, and began to seriously recall everything that had happened over the past few days. 11 frost giant bears. The emergency assembly order that was then cancelled. The major dojos inviting him like crazy. And then the counselor status. There must be some connection between these events. He opened his communication watch, entered the martial artist internal system, and began searching for recent news and announcements. After flipping through a few pages, an inconspicuous message caught his attention. Open Blacklands bracket at this point, I hope readers will remember our domain name. Massive novels are at 101kanshu.com, waiting for you, close Blacklands bracket. Open Blacklands bracket War God Palace newsletter close Blacklands bracket. God of War level martial artists Zhao Henian and Zhou Wenbin successfully quelled a beast swarm riot and repelled one lord level monster while executing a mission at Node M09. This is a special commendation notice. Zhao Henian, Zhou Wenbin. Yan Ning stared at these 2 names and flipped through even earlier announcements. In an internal report released 3 days ago, he found this passage. Quote, During this conscription mission, Nanjong Base City martial artist Yan Ning performed outstandingly, killing 11 beast general level monsters single-handedly, demonstrating excellent battlefield adaptability and combat literacy. Upon the joint recommendation of God of War level martial artists Zhao Henian and Zhou Wenbin, and following review by the Council Hall, Yan Ning is hereby awarded the honorary title of Base City Councilor. Yan Ning's finger stopped. Zhao Henian and Zhou Wenbin, two God of War level martial artists. Why did they recommend him? He continued scrolling down and finally found the answer in an encrypted forum post. Or rather, a possible answer. The author of the post was an anonymous user, and the content was very short. I heard that the Beast Swarm riot at M09 was caused by someone privately exploring ruins. The two gods of war went to clean up the mess, and on their way back, they saw a war general level martial artist solo farming frost giant bears. They thought he was a good seed and recommended him on a whim. Tisk, that's just fate for you. Yan Ning fell silent for a long time after reading it. So, is this the truth? While on their mission, two gods of war happened to see him killing frost giant bears, thought he was a good seed, and then casually recommended him for counselor. Was it that simple? Yan Ning leaned against the back of his chair, suddenly feeling a bit absurd. He thought back to those years he spent risking his life in the wilderness. He was always the first to charge in every mission and the last to retreat. He didn't dare rest even when injured, saving every bit of money to buy equipment and potions, fearing his progress wouldn't be fast enough. But in those years, he hadn't even touched the threshold of a meritorious martial artist. Now, just because two gods of war, casually, recommended him, he had become a counselor. An annual salary of 5 billion. An A8 combat suit. Conscription exemption priority. Voting rights for base city decisions. These were things Yan Ning hadn't even dared to dream of before. Is this the status and discourse power brought by strength? Yan Ning murmured to himself. Some things, if not experienced personally, will always remain on the surface, making it difficult to see the reality. The efforts of the weak are truly not worth mentioning. A casual act by the strong can change a person's fate. And he was now the person, casually recommended, by the strong. Was he lucky? Of course he was. In any case, subsequent conscriptions would likely have nothing to do with him, Yan Ning. He could take this opportunity to develop rapidly. As for whether it was the other party's genuine goodwill or some other plan, Yan Ning didn't care. With the support of the system's power, he only needed to focus on having children. However, after becoming a counselor, the genetic potential of the spouses I can match with should be at a higher level, right? Yan Ning composed his emotions. After settling things at home, he went to report for duty. The reporting procedure was simpler than Yan Ning had imagined. Yan Ning handed over his martial artist certification. The staff member took it, scanned it in the system, verified it for a few seconds, and then nodded. The information is correct. This is your counselor badge and authorization card. Please keep them safe. The badge is optional, it's mostly symbolic. The authorization card is used to unlock exclusive counselor facilities. The description of relevant benefits has been sent to your communication watch, you can review it yourself. Was it really that simple? Is there anything else? Yan Ning asked. That's all. After the staff member finished speaking, he couldn't help but look at him a few more times. To be honest, he had worked here for over 30 years and had seen at least 80 to 100 new counselors. But a new counselor is young and ordinary as the one before him was a first. What exactly was the background of this medically retired martial artist, who could be jointly recommended by two War God Palace martial artists? The staff member's curiosity was piqued. Taking advantage of organizing documents, he stole a few more glances at Yan Ning. Aside from being truly handsome, there didn't seem to be anything particularly eye-catching about him. His clothes were ordinary, his temperament was ordinary, and he even stood there with a bit of a nonchalant air. If the words, Base City Councilor, hadn't been clearly written in the system, he would never have believed that the young man before him could stand on equal footing with those monsters who could slaughter cities and destroy villages at will. Is that all then? Yan Ning pinned the badge to his chest and turned to leave. Counselor Yan Ning. The staff member hesitated for a moment but spoke up anyway. There are many reporters from the media who want to interview you, as well as invitations from major dojos and martial arts universities. What do you think? Decline them all. All of them. All of them. The staff member opened his mouth to say something else, but Yan Ning had already walked out of the office. Afterward, Yan Ning moved to a counselor villa area with better privacy and security. More than 5 months passed in a flash. During these 5 months, Yan Ning was almost isolated from the world. He declined all media interview requests, rejected all invitations from dojos and martial arts universities, and even made excuses to skip several meeting notices sent by the martial artist management office. He focused all his energy on cultivating and accompanying his family. During the day, he painstakingly practiced the Yunmo remnants in the underground training room, his psychic power growing bit by bit. His control of the arc blade disc also became more and more proficient, going from the initial 18 blades to the current 36. It had exactly doubled. What did it mean to control 36 planetary-level blades simultaneously? Yan Ning didn't even know himself. He only knew that the alloy target in the training room, which could withstand the full attack of a senior warrior general, couldn't last 3 seconds in front of him. The cultivation of his physical body didn't fall behind either. Relying on the resource allocation of the counselor rank and the investment of potions regardless of cost, his damaged meridians had long been completely repaired, and his gene origin energy circulated as easily as moving his own arms. Both his martial artist and psyker master levels broke through to apprentice level 5, corresponding to an intermediate general. 5 months, from junior war general to intermediate general. This speed was something he wouldn't have even dared to dream of in the past. But now, it still wasn't enough. Far from enough. Chapter 15, Stellar Stage Potential Cloud Caressing Vine. October 23, 3 a.m. Shenyao went into labor. It was unknown how much time had passed. Perhaps it was 2 hours, perhaps 3, but the door to the medical room finally opened. A nurse poked her head out and said with a smile, "Congratulations, both mother and daughter are safe." Yan Ning was stunned. A daughter? Yes, 6 Jin and 2 Liang, very healthy, the nurse said with a smile. The mother is also in good condition, so you don't need to worry. Yan Ning stood in the corridor, his mind blank. A daughter. He had a daughter. He didn't know how he walked into the medical room. By the time he came to his senses, he was already standing by Shenyao's bedside, looking at the tiny life wrapped in swaddling clothes. The little thing was wrinkled, her face not yet fully formed, eyes closed, her little mouth opening and closing as she breathed. She couldn't be called pretty, she was even a bit ugly. He had been in this world for 9 years. For 9 years, he had been struggling, fighting with all his might, and walking on thin ice. He thought he had long since become accustomed to loneliness and believed he could walk this path alone. But now, looking at this wrinkled little life, he suddenly felt that he finally had roots. And with this world, he finally had the most genuine connection. Seeing Yan Ning come over, Shenyao smiled weakly. Give her a name. Yan Ning thought for a long time. Yan Shi. The Shi from Morning Light, a new day, a new beginning. Late at night, Shenyao and their daughter were both asleep. Yan Ning sat on the sofa in the living room, closed his eyes, and sank his consciousness into his mind. The system interface floated quietly in the darkness, and a line of golden text slowly emerged in the void realm. Open black lens bracket. Congratulations to the host for breeding your first offspring. Triggering spreading branches and leaves critical mission. Obtained lottery chances ×1 close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket. Your bloodline has produced an apprentice-level descendant. Obtained stellar stage cloud caressing vine seedling. Close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket. Rewards have been distributed to the system space and can be retrieved at any time. Close black lens bracket. Yan Ning's breathing suddenly became rapid. Cloud caressing vine. One of the top-tier plant-type combat lifeforms. It can transform into armor to protect the host during battle, and can also extend countless vines to attack enemies. It integrates offense and defense, with infinite wonders. And most importantly, the growth potential of the cloud-caressing vine depends on its initial rank. An apprentice-level cloud-caressing vine can only reach the planetary stage in its entire life. A planetary stage cloud-caressing vine can at most grow to the stellar stage. And what he obtained was a stellar stage cloud-caressing vine seedling. As far as Yan Ning knew, the most powerful martial artist currently on Azure Star was only at the planetary stage. And this cloud-caressing vine seedling in his hand, as long as it was cultivated properly, would at least be a stellar stage existence in the future. What is the concept of the stellar stage? That is a level capable of blowing up a planet with a single punch. It is a level capable of crushing the sum of all martial artists on the entire Azure Star. As for what is needed for future breakthroughs, with the system in hand, just having more children will do. Ning took a deep breath. Then he looked at another option on the interface, lottery. The familiar interface unfolded in the void realm. Open black lens bracket items close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket techniques close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket artifacts close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket others close black lens bracket. 3 seconds later, the pointer stopped on open black lens bracket items close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket. Congratulations to the host for obtaining the black god suit close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket. Description: can adapt to the wearer's body shape, has extremely strong defense, can deflect all attacks below the war god level, has excellent damage reduction effects against war god level attacks, and also possesses a certain degree of self-repair capability, close black lens bracket. The black god suit. Attacks below the war god level could basically be ignored, and attacks at the war god level could also be mostly deflected. He now had the stellar stage cloud caressing vine seedling, the black god suit, and the planetary stage arc blade disc. A junior war god, I can now fight against one. No, to be more accurate, I can even defeat them. The moment this thought popped up, Ning himself felt it was somewhat unreal. A few months ago, he was still a retired martial artist with a damaged foundation and a bleak future, having to be extremely careful when facing a beast general level monster, where the slightest carelessness would mean total destruction. And now, he was already considering facing a war god level powerhouse head-on. Let's take care of business first. Ning composed himself and took the cloud-caressing vine seedling out of the system space. It was a fist-sized emerald green sphere, its surface covered in fine patterns, emitting a faint aura of life. Holding it in his palm, he could feel it beating slightly, like a heart. As soon as it was taken out, the emerald green sphere began to tremble violently, and countless hair-thin vines extended from the sphere, spreading up along Ning's arm, instantly covering his entire right arm. A strange connection was established between Ning and the cloud-caressing vine. He could feel its emotions. Curiosity, excitement, and a little bit, hungry. Don't be impatient, there will be plenty of things to feed you later. Ning smiled and soothed it with his thoughts. The cloud-caressing vine seemed to understand his words. The vine slowly retracted, shrinking back into an emerald green sphere, lying quietly in his palm. Ning then took out the black god suit. It was pitch black, smooth to the touch like silk, yet possessed a metallic texture. After putting it on, the black god suit immediately seemed to come alive, clinging tightly to his skin. He moved his limbs, feeling no sense of restriction at all. Not bad. This is just the beginning. Ning clenched his fist, his gaze piercing through the night, looking into the distance. The peaceful days did not last long. A week later, his communication watch finally popped up the message Ning had been waiting for a long time. Open black lens bracket urgent notice from the Nanjong Base City Council Hall close black lens bracket. All council members are requested to proceed to the third floor conference room of the council hall tomorrow at 9 a.m. to attend an important meeting. Attendance is mandatory. Agenda: regarding the follow-up disposal plan for the seal breakage incident in the K-17 and M09 zone ruins. Ning glanced at it and closed the message. It's finally here. The next day at 9 a.m., Ning arrived on time at the third floor conference room of the council hall. The conference room was not large, but it was arranged very formally. A long conference table sat 7 or 8 people on each side, all council members of Nanjong Base City. Ning found a corner to sit in, quietly observing everyone present. The meeting began quickly. A middle-aged council member wearing glasses stood up and projected a map onto the holographic screen. There were 2 eye-catching red dots on the map, labeled K-17 and M09 respectively. Everyone, today's agenda is regarding the follow-up disposal plan for the seal breakage incident in the K-17 and M09 zone ruins. I believe everyone still remembers the Beast Horde riot 5 months ago. At that time, we thought the problem had been solved, but the latest reconnaissance results show. He switched to an image, and a huge underground architectural ruin appeared on the holographic screen. In the center of the ruins, there was a huge gaping crack, from which black mist was constantly pouring out. The ruin seal has broken again, and the scale of this breakage is much larger than the last time. The conference room was quiet for a few seconds. According to the information we currently possess, this ruin is not a product of Earth civilization, but a relic of an alien civilization. What is sealed inside the ruins is also not an ordinary monster. He paused, appearing to be weighing his words. But rather, plant and animal lifeforms from an alien civilization. A low murmur of discussion arose in the conference room. Ning leaned back in his chair, his expression calm, but his mind was racing. An alien civilization's ruins. Plant and animal lifeforms. The cloud-caressing vine needed a large amount of biomass energy to grow, and the plant lifeforms of the alien civilization were the best nutrients. This was an opportunity he could not miss. Chapter 16. Setting out for the ruins. The middle-aged counselor finished relaying the specifics of the scouting report and then looked toward the other counselors present. Everyone is aware of the situation. The scale of the seal's breach in the ruins this time far exceeds the last. If not handled promptly, the resulting beast riot could affect the entire Nanjong base city. The question now is, who will go? The conference room fell silent. Several counselors exchanged looks but remained silent. Everyone knew how troublesome dealing with ruins of this type could be. Last time, even with two gods of war personally intervening, they only managed to temporarily control the situation. Now that the seal has broken again, the situation will only be worse. The slightest slip-up could result in severe injury or even death. Furthermore, everyone knew who had caused this mess, that arrogant kid from the Li family. Relying on the fact that his parents were members of the War God Palace, he secretly led a team inside to explore. As a result, he disturbed something in the ruins, causing the deaths of over 100 people. And now they wanted these counselors to clean up his mess. None of them were happy about it. The silence lasted for about a minute. Then, someone cast their gaze toward the corner. Ning felt those gazes. He knew what these people were thinking. A newly appointed counselor with no foundation or background, recommended by someone from the War God Palace. If they sent him and something happened, it would be hard to explain to His Excellency the God of War. But if they didn't send him, they would have to risk their own lives. A dilemma. Ning didn't wait for them to speak. He stood up and surveyed the people in the room, his voice neither high nor low. All go. The conference room was silent for a moment. Then, a wave of whispers broke out. Counselor Ning, are you sure? A white-haired elder on the chairman's podium frowned. The situation, this time, is more serious than the last. Even with two excellencies of the God of War level acting personally last time, they only managed to temporarily control things. Although there are rumors outside about your great strength, still. He didn't finish his sentence. But the meaning was clear. You are just an elementary junior war general who retired due to illness. Even if you have some skill, how can you compare to a God of War? Ning didn't explain. He simply said calmly, I have some methods that are inconvenient to disclose, but going alone is more convenient than taking a team. These words were a bit arrogant. The expressions of several veteran counselors soured slightly. However, Ning's point was valid. If one truly had trump cards they didn't want others to know about, acting alone was indeed more convenient. Furthermore, there is still some time before the seal completely shatters. I am only going to scout the situation this time and won't rush in blindly. If it proves impossible, I will withdraw. The white-haired elder pondered for a moment and exchanged looks with the other counselors. Counselor Ning makes sense, a middle-aged counselor nodded. This is just a scouting mission, not a final battle. With Counselor Ning's strength, protecting himself shouldn't be an issue. I agree as well, another counselor echoed. Letting Counselor Ning go allows the mission to be completed while avoiding unnecessary casualties. The white-haired elder finally made the decision, then it's settled. Counselor Ning, we'll trouble you to make the trip. Remember, focus on scouting and don't take risks. If anything seems wrong, withdraw immediately. Understood, Yan Ning nodded. After the meeting concluded, the counselors left one after another. The white-haired elder walked up to Yan Ning and whispered, "Be careful. Those ruins are far more complex than they appear." Yan Ning glanced at him and nodded. When he walked out of the council hall, the sunlight was just right. Yan Ning looked at the distant canopy of the base city. Beyond that canopy lay the direction of K-17. There lay the ruins of an alien civilization, the cracks of a broken seal, and unknown plant and animal lifeforms. It was the perfect chance to practice and test the integrated offensive and defensive effects of the Black God suit and the arc blade disc. And while he was at it, he could feed the cloud-caressing vine. Region K-17. Yan Ning stood at the edge of the ruins, looking at the deathly silent land before him, his brow furrowing slightly. This was vastly different from the scene 3 months ago. Gravel was scattered everywhere, and the remains of collapsed buildings looked as if they had been crushed by some immense force, leaving jagged edges. Within a 3-kilometer radius, there were no traces of any living thing, not even a patch of moss. Is this what it looks like after the ruin seal breaks? Yan Ning crouched down and pinched a bit of soil between his fingers. The soil was cracked and blackened, as if scorched by high temperatures or as if its vitality had been drained by something. Immediately after, his psychic power spread out, probing deep into the ground. The interference from the strong magnetic field was more severe than he had anticipated. The signal bars on his communication watch had completely dropped to 0, and even the time display began to flicker. The perception range of his psychic power was also compressed to less than 30 meters. Going any deeper was like reaching into a thick fog where nothing could be felt. Yan Ning was in no hurry to go down. After confirming there was no one around. With a thought, a sphere of emerald light floated out from the system space and landed in his palm. A cloud-caressing vine seedling. This stellar stage plant life, after a week of nurturing, had grown from the size of a fist to the size of a football. Emerald green vines extended from the sphere, swaying gently in the air. "Don't be impatient, let's start with some appetizers." Yan Ning smiled and took several Beast Soldier and Beast General level crystal cores from his backpack. The vines of the cloud-caressing vine immediately twitched with excitement, quickly wrapping around the crystal cores and enveloping them in a green cocoon. A few seconds later, the vines uncoiled, and the crystal cores had turned into piles of gray powder, all their energy completely absorbed. The cloud-caressing vine retracted contentedly, its color appearing a few shades more vibrant than before. "Let's go. There's a feast waiting below." Yan Ning carried the cloud-caressing vine seedling on his shoulder and headed down through the cracks in the ruins. But the further down he went, the thicker the sense of deathly silence in the air became. There wasn't a hint of sound or vibration. Something's not right. Yan Ning stopped, his psychic power fully deployed. He couldn't feel any obvious life fluctuations. Logically, this underground space should hide the source of the broken seal, and there should at least be some monsters leaking out from the ruins, but there was nothing. It was as quiet as a grave. Yan Ning released 36 blades of the arc blade disc. Silver light circled around him, forming an airtight defensive perimeter. Then he controlled the cloud-caressing vine, making it cover the surface of his body like armor. The Black God suit on the inside and the cloud-caressing vine on the outside, double-layered defense. Anyway, the cloud-caressing vine has strong vitality, it should be fine taking a hit or two. Yan Ning comforted himself. He had checked the records. The 2 gods of war who handled the ruins last time, one junior war god and one intermediate war god, couldn't completely solve the problem even working together, only temporarily controlling the situation. But Yan Ning wasn't being overconfident. With his planetary-level arc blade disc and Black God suit, he had enough capital to test the waters. Life and death are fated, wealth and honor are in the hands of heaven. Yan Ning took a deep breath and stepped into the entrance of the ruins. Chapter 17. Cloud-caressing vine, same kind. A sloping downward passage had walls covered in a layer of grayish-black material that resembled both metal and plant fiber, feeling cold and smooth to the touch, possessing an indescribable texture. Yan Ning walked for about 50 meters. A door appeared ahead. No, rather than a door, it was more of a rift. The edges of the rift were jagged, as if something had torn it open from the inside. A circular spaceship. Yan Ning frowned. Judging by the curvature of the passage, this must be the wreckage of a massive circular spaceship, embedded diagonally deep underground. The material of the spaceship was not merely metal. It was a product formed by the combination of plant fiber and some kind of alloy. Is this what alien civilization is like? Yan Ning suppressed the curiosity in his heart and was just preparing to study how to enter the spaceship's interior when the cloud-caressing vine on his shoulder suddenly began to shake violently. It was very excited. Its vines stretched frantically toward the rift, as if urging Yan Ning to hurry inside. Is there something inside? The cloud-caressing vine transmitted a vague intent. It was joy, it was desire, and there was also a primal urge to feed. Yan Ning hesitated for less than 3 seconds before making a decision. Open. 36 arc blade discs flew out simultaneously, hovering and cutting at the rift. But as soon as the blades touched the spaceship's material, they encountered unexpected resistance. That layer of grayish-black material was harder than any alloy. The planetary-level blades could only cut a finger-width mark. So hard. Before Yan Ning could think of another way, the rift suddenly opened automatically. Quote. The spaceship's walls retracted to both sides, revealing a passage large enough for one person to pass through. Deep within the passage, faint light shimmered, carrying an aura of strange life. Yan Ning was stunned for a moment. Then, without further hesitation, he flashed inside. The space inside the spaceship was much larger than it appeared from the outside. It seemed to utilize some form of space folding technology. Although it looked to be no more than a few hundred meters in diameter from the outside, the interior resembled a massive domed hall, about 100 meters high, with an area of at least tens of thousands of square meters. But at this moment, this space was in a state of utter ruin. Most of the patterns on the walls were dim and lusterless, and in some places, they had peeled away, revealing the grayish-black base material underneath. The air was permeated with a faint, fresh scent of vegetation, yet it was mixed with an indescribable aura of decay. Yan Ning's gaze was quickly drawn to the scene in the center of the hall. Several people were lying on the ground. 4 of them, wearing uniform-based city combat suits, with the words, Nanjong Special Service, embroidered on their chests. They lay motionless on the ground, with no obvious wounds on their bodies. But their faces were ashen, as if their life force had been drained away. Yan Ning remained vigilant and did not approach. He first controlled the cloud-caressing vine to extend a vine, gently touching the body of the person nearest to him. As soon as the vine made contact, it retracted rapidly. The intent transmitted by the cloud-caressing vine was empty. Empty. It meant there was no life energy left in this body. Yan Ning's heart sank. He walked over, crouched down, and checked the person's pulse and breathing. There was no sign of life, clearly dead for a long time. The other 2 were the same. Only the 4th one, a young woman with a ponytail, still had an extremely faint rise and fall in her chest. Yan Ning did not rush to save her. Instead, he turned to observe the object before him. A transparent container about a person's height, cylindrical, tilted on the ground. The lid of the container was shattered, and the inside was empty. Save for a small, withered yellowish twig remaining at the bottom. The twig was about the length of a forearm, as thick as a finger, and covered in cracks. But, it was pulsing. Like a heart, beat by beat, slow and powerful. With every beat, the cracks on the twig would glow slightly, emitting a faint aura of life. The aura was very faint. But Yan Ning's psychic power caught it. It was a kind of life energy, pure to the extreme, that he had never felt before. And at this moment, the cloud-caressing vine went crazy. The cloud-caressing vine seedling on his shoulder shot out violently, dozens of vines reaching toward that twig simultaneously. Its intent was filled with desire, an emotion so intense that even Yan Ning could feel it clearly. Wait. Yan Ning was too late to stop it. The cloud-caressing vine had already wrapped around the twig. The twig seemed to sense the presence of the cloud-caressing vine as well. A jade-green halo surged from the twig, enveloping the entire cloud-caressing vine. 2 auras of plant life collided, merged, and devoured each other in the void realm. Yan Ning watched this scene tensely, 36 arc blade discs hovering in midair, ready to strike at any moment. But the thing he worried about did not happen. The twig did not resist. Or rather, it was actively cooperating. The jade-green halo flowed along the vines into the body of the cloud-caressing vine, as if transmitting something. The vines of the cloud-caressing vine began to grow wildly. The color changed from jade green to deep green, then from deep green to ink green, and golden patterns emerged on the surface. The entire process lasted about 3 minutes. Then, the halo on the twig completely dissipated, and with a snap, the withered yellowish twig crumbled into powder, scattering all over the ground. The cloud-caressing vine swelled significantly in size. It went from the size of a soccer ball to the size of a washbasin. The number of vines increased several times over. Covered in golden patterns, exuding a faint aura of life. It transmitted a feeling of satisfaction. Delicious. That's it. Ning was somewhat dazed as he saw this scene before him. The incident of the ruined seal, which had troubled 2 gods of war, nearly triggered a beast horde riot, and made the entire Nanjong base city face a formidable enemy, had just ended like this. The cloud-caressing vine swallowed the culprit in one bite. Is it over? Ning still could not believe it. The cloud-caressing vine transmitted a new intent. Below, there is more. Ning's heart rose again. I thought as much. How could it be so simple? He stood up and glanced at the dying female martial artist on the ground. Forget it, let's go down and take a look first. 300 more meters underground. Ning climbed down along a passage inside the spaceship. The walls of the passage had completely decayed, crumbling into dust at the slightest touch. The further down he went, the stronger the fresh scent of vegetation in the air became, but the aura of decay also grew heavier. Finally, at the very core of the spaceship, a fist-sized seed was also suspended in the center of the space. The phenomenon was even greater than that of the twig. Thump, thump, thump. Boundless life energy was surging. The cloud-caressing vine became excited again. It flew out from Ning's shoulder and hovered in front of that seed, its vines stretching out cautiously, as if afraid to disturb the other. The seed also seemed to sense the presence of the cloud-caressing vine. It stopped rotating, and its jade-green halo retracted slightly, as if it were scrutinizing. The 2 auras of plant life began to communicate. Ning could not understand this communication, but he could feel the changes in the cloud-caressing vine's emotions. First surprise, then understanding, and finally a kind of faint sadness. The communication lasted for a long time. Finally, the cloud-caressing vine retracted its vines and slowly landed back on Ning's shoulder, transmitting a clear intent. It is my own kind. Chapter 18, Devouring Growth, Millennium Wood and Grass Spirit. Ning paused in surprise. Up here, the cloud-caressing vine transmitted information intermittently. It took Ning over 10 minutes to piece together the general outline of the events. A long, long time ago, on a distant plant planet, a powerful plant lifeform was born. It had cultivated to the peak of the stellar stage, but it could never break through to a higher realm. Thus, it chose to wander the universe, seeking an opportunity for a breakthrough. After an unknown number of years, it arrived at Azure Star. However, the environment of Azure Star was not suitable for its survival, its power began to decline, and its life gradually approached its end. In the final moments of its life, it condensed its remaining life essence into 2 items. A seed and a branch. The seed was its core, carrying most of its memories and power. The branch was its clone, responsible for guarding the seed and waiting for a suitable successor for its legacy. But the long passage of time eroded its consciousness. When the branch awoke, it had already forgotten most of its memories, retaining only the instinct to guard and devour. It began to absorb surrounding life energy unconsciously. This caused the area around the spaceship to become a dead zone and also attracted the attention of the base city. The martial artists who had their life force drained were victims of the branch's protective instinct. So, it isn't some monster, just a dying plant lifeform waiting for a successor for its legacy. Ning muttered. The cloud-caressing vine sent a confirming thought and then added, it said that I am a suitable successor for its legacy. How does the legacy transfer? The vine of the cloud-caressing vine reached out again, gently touching the surface of the seed. The seed suddenly lit up. An emerald green halo erupted, illuminating the entire spherical space as if it were daytime. A massive amount of life energy surged from the seed, flowing along the vines of the cloud-caressing vine and rushing crazily into its body. The vines of the cloud-caressing vine grew, thickened, and became denser at a speed visible to the naked eye. The basin-sized sphere rapidly expanded to the size of a water vat. On the dark green surface, golden patterns grew more numerous and dense, emitting a dazzling light. Ning was forced back several steps by the energy fluctuations and had to activate his black god suit to dissipate the force. This energy. If the energy of that branch before was a cup of water, then the energy in this seed now was a lake. The cloud-caressing vine was absorbing it, but the absorption speed was very slow. The energy within the seed was too vast, it couldn't devour it all in a short time. Ning could feel the thoughts of the cloud-caressing vine. It was saying, enough, enough, I can't eat any more, I'm going to break. But the seed seemed to have no intention of stopping. It continued to output energy endlessly, as if it wanted to hand over all its heritage to this peer. Finally, after the cloud-caressing vine expanded to the size of a small car, the light of the seed began to dim. The emerald-green halo gradually receded, and the golden patterns dimmed. The heartbeat of the seed became slower and weaker. After one final beat, it quieted down. A crack appeared on the surface of the seed, then a second, a third. The cracks grew more numerous and dense, spreading across the entire seed like a spiderweb. With a soft pop, the seed shattered into countless tiny fragments, turning into a rain of emerald green light that drifted down slowly. The light rain fell on the ground and vanished into nothingness. It fell on the cloud-caressing vine and was absorbed. It fell on Ning, and he felt a warm power seep into his body, as if nourishing his meridians and cells. This is. Ning looked down at his hands and discovered a faint emerald green halo appearing on his skin before vanishing immediately. An indescribable sense of comfort washed over his body, as if every cell were cheering. The cloud-caressing vine floated quietly in the air, its size stabilized at that of a small car. It sent a thought, filled with deep sorrow, it is gone. Ning was silent for a moment and gently patted the vines of the cloud-caressing vine. It left its hope with you, living well is the best way to carry on its legacy. When you eventually step into the undying realm and transcend the universe, you will be able to resurrect it, ignoring the price of the river of time. Ning could spout such grand, empty promises with ease. Relying on the might of the system, it wasn't impossible for the cloud-caressing vine to transcend the universe. The vines of the cloud-caressing vine gently wrapped around his arm, as if in response. Afterwards, Ning searched carefully. The fragments of the seed had turned to nothingness, but in the center of the fragments, he found a thumb-sized emerald green crystal. The crystal was hexagonal, completely transparent, with emerald green light flowing faintly within. Holding it in his palm, he could feel a gentle and pure life energy, far more concentrated than the energy of that branch. The thought of the cloud-caressing vine came through. Millennium wood and grass spirit, good stuff. Millennium wood and grass spirit. Ning's pupils constricted slightly. This really was a good thing. Not only could it be used to cultivate, but it could also be used to heal injuries, break through bottlenecks, and even extend one's lifespan, while also having beneficial effects on psychic power. Good stuff. Ning carefully put it away, placing it into his system storage. Then there were the 3 dead martial artists and the dying female martial artist. Ning checked the condition of the female martial artist. Although her life force had been drained by more than half, it was not yet completely exhausted. If left alone, she could last at most 2 or 3 more days. Forget it, saving a life is worth it. Ning carried her on his back and climbed up along the path he had come from. He did not abandon the 3 dead martial artists either, although they were already dead. Bringing them back would at least provide some closure for their families. When he left the spaceship ruins, the sky outside had already darkened. Ning looked back at the crack. The gray-black material around the crack was weathering rapidly, peeling off with a rustling sound like a sand sculpture. It's over. He took a deep breath and sped off in the direction of the base city. Nanjong Base City, Council Hall. Except for the riot area, there were generally no life or death matters in Nanjong Base City, so everyone had not left, intending to plan out future arrangements together. At sunset, a message suddenly arrived via communication. Yan Ning had returned. Open black lens bracket Nanjong Base City Council member Yan Ning has returned close black lens bracket. It seems the investigation went smoothly. I suppose there were no major issues. It hasn't even been a day. How did he bring someone back? Is that one of the previously missing Special Operations team members? Wasn't it said that they were all wiped out? How is one still alive? The news spread through the council hall as if it had wings. In less than 10 minutes, all the council members in the base city had gathered around, and even that white-haired elder, Council Chairman Zhou Zhengyuan, had arrived in person. Inside the conference room, Yan Ning sat at one end of the conference table. Council member Yan Ning, please explain the situation. Zhou Zhengyuan's voice was steady, but he could not hide the surprise in his eyes. Chapter 19, War God Level Potential Marriage. Yan Ning had already prepared his explanation. The threat inside the relic has been eliminated. The core of the spaceship was an alien plant life form. It was already at the end of its life, and its power had severely decayed. I used some special methods to resolve it. The specifics involve my personal privacy, so it is inconvenient to disclose. However, I can confirm that the relic seal rupture incident in the K-17 and M-09 areas will no longer pose a threat to the base city. You can arrange for a special task force to confirm this afterward. The meeting room was silent for a few seconds. Then, a middle-aged councilman couldn't help but ask. You say it's resolved, and it's just resolved. Last time, two gods of war joined forces and could only temporarily control the situation. You, Amir, I didn't say I solved it through force. Yan Ning glanced at him. I've already said that the plant life form was at the end of its life. I simply found the correct method. As for what that method specifically is, I'm afraid I cannot disclose it. The middle-aged councilman wanted to say more, but Zhou Zhengyuan raised his hand to stop him. If Councilman Yan Ning is unwilling to say, then do not ask. We can arrange for the special task force to confirm it afterward. Zhou Zhengyuan's gaze lingered on Yan Ning for a few seconds before he nodded slowly. As long as the matter is resolved, that is good. Everyone, are there any other opinions? The councilmen looked at each other and ultimately chose to remain silent. Yan Ning was a councilman jointly recommended by the War God Palace. If he was unwilling to speak on a matter, pressing him would only lead to a falling out. Besides, the threat of the relic had indeed been eliminated, which was the best possible outcome. A younger councilman stood up and said, since that is the case, I propose that we commend Councilman Yan Ning. In this operation, Councilman Yan Ning not only eliminated the relic threat but also rescued a missing Special Task Force member. His meritorious service is outstanding, and he should be credited with a major merit. Seconded. Zhou Zhengyuan nodded. A major merit will be recorded, and 5 million merit points will be added. Additionally, all spoils from Councilman Yan Ning's operation will belong to him personally and need not be turned over. Yan Ning bowed his head slightly. Thank you, Chairman. After the meeting ended, the councilmen left one by one. As Yan Ning walked out of the meeting room, he could feel the change in the gazes behind him. They were no longer suspicious or scrutinizing, but appreciative. Through this battle, he had truly earned the recognition of these people. It wasn't by the recommendation of the War God Palace, not by luck, but by solid, concrete achievements. Councilman Yan Ning. Zhou Zhengyuan's voice came from behind him. Yan Ning stopped and turned around. Zhou Zhengyuan advised, you handled this matter very well. But I want to remind you that some things, if hidden too deeply, will instead attract attention. When it is time to show them, you should still show them. Yan Ning was silent for a moment, then nodded. Thank you for the guidance, Chairman. Zhou Zhengyuan waved his hand and turned to leave. After Yan Ning left, a few councilmen remained in the meeting room. They sat around the table, drinking tea, and chatting idly. This Yan Ning is quite interesting. A fat councilman stroked his chin. He resolved the relic in less than a day, something even two gods of war couldn't do. He managed it. What do you think his background is? Who cares what his background is, as long as he can get things done? Another councilman yawned. Anyway, the trouble is resolved, and we don't have to go throw our lives away. That's good enough. You can't say that. A female councilman wearing glasses set down her teacup. I think we should re-evaluate Councilman Yan Ning's value. Several people looked at her. The female councilman pushed up her glasses. Don't forget, Councilman Yan Ning has currently only taken 2 wives. According to the organization's requirements, he needs to complete the reproduction task with 3 women within 5 years. Now he is a councilman and has displayed strength surpassing an ordinary war general. It is highly probable he has war god level potential. For such a young councilman with excellent genes and immense potential to only be paired with 2 wives, isn't that a bit of a waste? The meeting room was silent for a moment. The chubby councilman's eyes lit up. You mean? The female councilman spoke with a professional, serious tone for every word. I mean that the organization should consider increasing Councilman Yan Ning's reproduction task quota. His genes are excellent. If he can leave behind more offspring, it will be a good thing for the entire human race. The catastrophe on Azure Star is far from over. We need more excellent genes. The fat councilman slapped the table. That's right. 1 isn't enough, it's simply not enough for everyone to share. This was a bit explicit, but no one refuted it. In the era of catastrophe, the genes of an excellent martial artist are the most precious resource. The offspring of a war god level powerhouse naturally have higher genetic potential and are more likely to grow into the next generation of powerhouses. And Yan Ning, a medically discharged martial artist, surged from a junior war general to an intermediate general in just over half a year, and even displayed the talent of a psyker master, and is even suspected of having war god level combat power. How much are such a person's genes worth? The answer is priceless. The female councilman said formally, I propose that the council hall submit an application to the organization to adjust Councilman Yan Ning's reproduction task quota from 3 women in 5 years to 5 women in 3 years or higher. Of course, the premise is to respect Councilman Yan Ning's own wishes. Seconded. Seconded. Zhou Zhengyuan had not spoken the entire time. After everyone had finished expressing their stance, he spoke slowly, Don't be hasty yet. There is one more thing you must not forget. Everyone's gaze turned to him. That kid from the Li family, the relic matter was the mess he stirred up. Now that Yan Ning has resolved the relic, it is equivalent to cleaning up his mess. How do you think the Li family will feel about that? The atmosphere in the meeting room suddenly became heavy. The Li family, one of the most prominent martial artist families in Nanjing Base City. The head of the Li family is an advanced war god. His wife is an even stronger planetary-level powerhouse, with a transcendent status in the War God Palace, even above the chairman of Nanjing Base City. Their only son, Li Yifeng, was the culprit who explored the relic privately, caused the Beast Horde riot, and killed over 100 people. But because of his parents' background, the matter ultimately ended without consequence. There was no accountability, no punishment, not even a public reprimand. They just had him reflect behind closed doors for a few months, and then he was out and about again. Now, Yan Ning had solved the relic problem. The mess Li Yifeng stirred up had been plugged by Yan Ning. Thinking on the bright side, Li Yifeng owed Yan Ning a favor. Thinking on the dark side, would someone like Li Yifeng ever feel that he owed others a favor? The fat councilman frowned. That lawless kid, what if he thinks Yan Ning stole his spotlight, or thinks Yan Ning is deliberately slapping him in the face? Therefore, we must prepare in advance. Councilman Yan Ning is one of our own from Nanjing Base City, not a private enemy of the Li family. No matter what the Li family thinks, we must support what needs supporting, and protect what needs protecting. The female councilman nodded. The chairman is right. I will draft a proposal to increase Councilman Yan Ning's reproduction task quota as soon as possible, and I will also keep an eye on Li Yifeng's movements. Another councilman interjected. There is one more thing. The female martial artist that Councilman Yan Ning rescued this time, she's from the Special Task Force, right? I recall the Special Task Force is directly under the jurisdiction of the Council Hall. What is that female martial artist's name? Her name is Su Wanqing. An intermediate general, a psyker master. A psyker master, yes. And she's the ace scout of the Special Task Force. She was already an intermediate general before she went missing. Her talent is good, and she also looks. All right, all right. Zhou Zhengyuan waved his hand, interrupting these increasingly off-topic discussions. Meeting adjourned. Prepare what needs to be prepared, and keep an eye on what needs to be watched. It's not easy for Nanjong Base City to produce a young councilman with potential, don't let anyone ruin him. The councilmen stood up and left one after another. The meeting room became quiet again. Outside the window, the night view of the base city was brightly lit and peaceful. But everyone knew that beneath this peace, undercurrents were surging. The Li family, Li Yifeng, would that lawless young master come to cause trouble for Yan Ning? No one knew the answer. Such a talented and capable playboy is arrogant, and his temper is unpredictable, who knows? After all, the fire hasn't burned them yet. Chapter 20, Dual Breakthrough, Senior Warrior General. He pushed open the door. Shen Yao was pacing in the living room, holding their daughter, while Zhao Zixuan sat on the sofa with her visibly pregnant belly, holding a parenting book. You're back. Shen Yao looked up. The moment she saw Yan Ning, the worry in her eyes turned into joy. How was it? Are you hurt? I'm fine. Yan Ning walked over and took their daughter from her arms. The little one was sleeping soundly, her small mouth slightly parted, breathing evenly, her cheeks flushed with the rosy softness unique to infants. Yan Ning looked down at this small face, and the taut string in his heart finally relaxed completely. How is old Zhao doing? Zhao Zixuan put down her book and asked somewhat anxiously. Although her father, Zhao Tishan, had returned safely after the last conscription, he hadn't been able to sit still these past few months and was always thinking about running off to the wilderness. He returned safely. You should have a good talk with him later. He's at that age where he should just do what he needs to do. Don't keep thinking about going to the wilderness. Opening a martial arts gym in the base city and teaching apprentices, isn't that better than risking his life out there? Zhao Zixuan pursed her lips. I've tried persuading him, but he won't listen. Then persuade him a few more times. If that really doesn't work, I'll go talk to him myself once I'm done with this busy period. Zhao Zixuan nodded, her eyes reddening again. Shen Yao watched this scene from the side, smiled softly, and turned to the kitchen to bring over a cup of hot tea. Yan Ning took the tea, took a sip, and swept his gaze over the two of them. Shen Yao had recovered very well after giving birth, she had put on some weight, her complexion was rosy, and Zhao Zixuan's belly was already very prominent, with her due date just 3 months away. This home was becoming more and more like a real home. But he couldn't indulge in this warmth for too long, he had to convert what he had obtained into immediate combat power. I need to go into seclusion for a while. I'll leave the house to you. Yan Ning handed their sleeping daughter to Shen Yao and stood up. Shen Yao felt a pang of heartache. Training as soon as you get back. Won't you rest for a bit? I'm used to it. Yan Ning waved his hand and turned to walk towards the basement. In the training room, Yan Ning sat cross-legged and his consciousness sank into the system space. The cloud-caressing vine was in deep slumber. That emerald green sphere floated in the system space like a cocoon, occasionally trembling slightly. With such vast energy, I don't know how long it will take to digest, Yan Ning muttered. But he wasn't in a hurry. The stronger the cloud-caressing vine, the stronger his trump card would be. Combined with the Black God suit, the number of people on the entire Azure Star who could injure him could be counted on one hand. Only then would it be time for Yan Ning to finally breathe a sigh of relief. However, he couldn't just sit idle while the cloud-caressing vine was in slumber. Yan Ning took out the emerald green crystal from his pocket. The Millennium Wood and Grass Spirit. It radiated a soft, emerald green glow. A good item that can improve aptitude and increase psychic power, and it's 1,000 years old. If this were put up for sale, few people in the entire Nanjong base city could afford it. Such things are rare and hard to come by. If I can reach the God of War level, both my ability to earn money and my status will be able to reach a higher level. By then, I can purchase dragon blood to strengthen myself, allowing me to maintain steady progress in my strength during this vacuum period while waiting for the system to redeem rewards. And, only a war god level expert is qualified to truly have a say in the council hall. There are over 20 counselors in Nanjong base city, but those who truly hold the power of speech are always those few gods of war. He is currently a counselor. But in the eyes of those true experts, he is merely a promising young man. There are 25 base cities on Azure Star, being just a counselor of Nanjong base city is far from enough. Yan Ning closed his eyes and silently planned his path in his heart. Base City Counselor Chief, Azure Counselor, Azure Elder, Azure Speaker, and even reaching the absolute peak of Azure Star. Let's take it one step at a time. The universe is extremely dangerous. If I can't even dominate Azure, how can I talk about the universe? Yan Ning didn't rush to consume the Millennium Wood and Grass Spirit, instead, he first began to adjust his physical state. The next 10 days. Every day, Yan Ning still only did 3 things: eating with his family, sleeping, and cultivate. He adjusted his physical state to the peak, and even his state of mind became much more composed than before. Late at night on the 10th day, Yan Ning sat alone in the training room and placed the Millennium Wood and Grass Spirit in his palm. Let's begin. He activated his gene origin energy to envelop the Millennium Wood and Grass Spirit. An emerald green light erupted instantly, illuminating the entire training room as if it were daylight. A warm wave of energy surged from his palm into his body, spreading through his meridians to every limb and bone. Like parched land receiving spring rain, every cell was greedily absorbing this life energy. His psychic power was also growing simultaneously. Boom! Yan Ning heard a crisp sound from within his body, as if something had been broken through. Martial Artist Cultivation, Apprentice Level 6. Psyker Master Cultivation, Apprentice Level 6. Both broke through to Senior Warrior General. Yan Ning did not stop and continued to refine the remaining energy of the Millennium Wood and Grass Spirit. The gene origin energy in his meridian surged ceaselessly, and his psychic power continued to expand. Then, he encountered a barrier. That layer was thick and hard, like an iron curtain, standing between him and the God of War level. The energy of the Millennium Wood and Grass Spirit impacted it 3 times, but the barrier remained unmoved. I'm just a hair's breadth away. Yan Ning opened his eyes and let out a long breath. Breaking through to God of War is not something that happens overnight. Being able to charge directly from Intermediate General to the peak of Senior Warrior General is already the limit of the Millennium Wood and Grass Spirit. Who told him his foundation was too poor? Yan Ning stood up and stretched his muscles and bones. His bones made a slight cracking sound, his muscle lines were smooth and powerful, and his gene origin energy moved through his body as easily as moving his own arm. He threw a casual punch. The fist wind tore through the air in the training room, emitting a sharp whistle. This punch is at least 50,000 kilograms. The strength of a junior war god is at least 60,000 kilograms. Although there is a gap, it is still more than 3 times stronger than before. The improvement in his psychic power was even more exaggerated. Yan Ning moved his mind. The blades of the arc blade disc flew out. A full 48 of them. 48 planetary-level blades shuttled through the training room, weaving together in a silver stream of light. I should be able to easily defeat a junior war god, and I can even fight a head-on battle with an intermediate war god. Yan Ning retracted the blades, a hint of satisfaction flashing in his eyes. If it were just an ordinary wood and grass spirit, it would definitely not have this effect. That's right, after all, it is condensed from the life essence of the cloud-caressing vine. Even if it's just the millennium-old leftovers, it's enough to use. Thinking about the energy in the seed that the cloud-caressing vine had devoured, a surge of anticipation couldn't help but rise in Yan Ning's heart. I've only picked up some leftovers. To what extent will the cloud-caressing vine grow after devouring most of it? Planetary level, or even higher. The first day after coming out of seclusion, Yan Ning began to process the information that had accumulated over these 10 days. There were hundreds of unread messages on his communication watch, most of which were still invitations from major martial arts gyms. Chapter 21, Su Wanqing's Initiative. After successfully handling the ruins, various factions further bid for Yan Ning. The North Great Wilderness Martial Arts Academy, Mad Demon Martial Arts Academy, Underground Alliance, and even some organizations he had never heard of, all offered increasingly absurd terms. The highest offer came from an unknown private armed group. a guaranteed 8 billion per year, with a 20% commission with no liability. Yan Ning was not interested in this. If you take 1 billion from someone else, you have to earn them 2 billion. No matter how flexible the terms are, once you sign, how can you achieve true freedom? Moreover, he had too many secrets on him. Psyker Master, Arc Blade Disc, Black God Suit, Cloud Caressing Vine, if any of these were exposed, they would attract countless covetous gazes. Join a martial arts academy. That would just be asking for trouble. Yan Ning continued scrolling down and, at the very bottom of his message list, saw 2 messages from the council hall. The first was a formal, official notice. Open black lens bracket Counselor Yan Ning close black lens bracket. After careful consideration by the organization, and referencing your outstanding performance in this ruin mission as well as your genetic aptitude assessment results, it has been decided to increase your reproduction quota from 3 children in 5 years to 5 children in 3 years. This adjustment aims to maximize the legacy efficiency of excellent genes and contribute to the long-term survival of the human race. For the specific execution plan, you may visit the Population Management Department of the Council Hall for details in the coming days. Yan Ning frowned. 5 in 3 years. This efficiency requirement was a bit high. However, he didn't rush to object. He would deal with such matters when the time came. Anyway, 3 years was still a long way off. The second message was from Council Speaker Zhou Zhengyuan, and the wording was much more casual. Open black lens bracket Young friend Yan, sorry to disturb you, but I have a question. Do you still have the desire to marry? I happen to know several unmarried women with good looks and aptitude. Their genetic aptitude is mostly between apprentice level 2 and apprentice level 4, and they all come from prominent families in Nanjing base city. If you are interested, I can arrange a meeting. Close black lens bracket. Prominent families. In the past, as a medically retired martial artist, he wouldn't even have been able to step through their doors. Now that he had become a counselor, he had become a hot commodity. But he had no fondness for the term, prominent families. Years later, he, Yan Ning, would be a prominent family himself, or even a prominent family in the universe. Marrying women from those prominent families now would bring more trouble than it was worth. He only wanted to marry a woman with a similar family background and decent aptitude. Marrying up, he wasn't willing to expend that much energy and have to bow and scrape. Just as Yan Ning was about to politely decline, his communication watch vibrated again. Another message from Zhou Zhengyuan arrived, and the content made him pause in surprise. Open black lens bracket Young friend Yan, do you remember the woman you rescued during the previous ruin mission? Her name is Su Wanqing. She was originally an ace scout for the Special Task Force, an apprentice level 6 Psyker Master, and a senior warrior general. During this ruin mission, her meridians were damaged, and she lost all of her psychic power. She has already processed her medical retirement. According to the organization's requirements, she must complete the task of reproducing 1 offspring within 3 years. If you are interested, I can play matchmaker. Close black lens bracket. Yan Ning stared at this message, falling into deep thought. An apprentice level 6 Psyker Master. Just this genetic aptitude alone was enough to cause countless people to fight over her. Not to mention the value of the term, Psyker Master. In this world, the probability of a Psyker Master's offspring awakening psychic power was several times higher than that of ordinary people. Would such a good thing really fall to him? Yan Ning leaned back in his chair and began to calculate. He was just a counselor of Nanjing base city, it was enough, yet not enough. In ambiguous situations, resources of this level were usually prioritized for God of War families or those with deep backgrounds. Unless, there was some reason why others were unwilling to take her. Meridians damaged, psychic power lost. A crippled Psyker Master is indeed greatly discounted in the eyes of those people. But Yan Ning was different. He had the system, the cloud-caressing vine, and the residual energy of the Millennium Wood and Grass spirit circulating in his body. He might not be unable to heal injuries that others couldn't. Furthermore, if an apprentice level 6 genetic aptitude combined with his genes, the offspring born. Yan Ning took a deep breath. Let's meet first and see. Try to get along, it doesn't necessarily have to be for the purpose of marriage. After all, AZ is due to give birth in 3 months, and such things cannot be rushed. Cloud Top Pavilion, the best restaurant in Nanjong Base City. When Yan Ning arrived, Su Wanqing was already sitting at a table by the window. When he first saw her, he couldn't help but mutter to himself. How could this be his turn? Su Wanqing was wearing a plain white dress, her long hair draped over her shoulders, her skin fair, and her features exquisite. After this period of recuperation, her complexion was much better than in the ruins, there was some color in her face, and her eyes had regained their luster. On a scale of 10, if not a 9, she was at least an 8. Yan Ning knew his looks weren't bad, not inferior to Yanzu's. But considering their overall status and standing, a medically retired, crippled psyker master marrying him, a counselor, could be considered a match, but with beauty and genetic aptitude of Su Wanqing's level, even if her psychic power was wasted, she shouldn't be ignored by everyone. Unless, her brain also had problems. Although this thought was a bit impolite, Yan Ning really couldn't think of any other explanation. Young Miss Su. He walked over and greeted her politely. Counselor Yan. Su Wanqing stood up, bowed slightly, her attitude neither humble nor arrogant. The two sat down, and a waiter came over to take their order. Yan Ning casually ordered a few dishes and then looked at the woman opposite him. Su Wanqing was also looking at him. Her gaze was very direct, without the shyness or coy hesitation of a young girl, but carried a certain calmness born from having experienced life and death. Counselor Yan, I have a question I want to clarify first. Please, go ahead. Do your 2 wives have any objections to me marrying into the family? Yan Ning was stunned. This question was too direct, so direct that he almost didn't react in time. Realistically, Shenyao and Zhao Zixuan really didn't have any objections. The greater good of the organization came first. Yan Ning wasn't a playboy, and besides, both of them were very considerate and understanding, they wouldn't oppose such a matter. Yan Ning straightened his back and said confidently, regardless, I am a counselor of Nanjong Base City, a warrior general who practices both psychic power and martial arts. It is reasonable and appropriate to marry a wife within the recommended quota. Well, he was a senior warrior general now. Su Wanqing looked at him, the corners of her mouth curling slightly. That's good. We are just getting to know each other today, old Joe. During the ruin mission, my meridians were damaged, and I have lost all of my psychic power. I have completely lost my combat effectiveness and had to process a medical retirement. According to the organization's requirements, I must complete the task of reproducing 1 offspring within 3 years. But I don't want to marry just anyone. Rather than marrying a stranger, I would rather marry you. Yan Ning opened his mouth but couldn't say anything. Su Wanqing continued, you saved me. Your appearance also fits my aesthetic, and your strength, status, and character, I have inquired about them, are all excellent. If you don't mind, we can register for marriage today. Chapter 22, Third Critical Reward, Planetary Stage Dragon Blood. Today, Yan Ning felt like he couldn't keep up with this woman's rhythm. But Su Wanqing was very thorough and realistic. The era of catastrophe was like this. A senior warrior general psyker master had the right to choose their own spouse in marriage. Compared to the double-blind reproduction requirements for ordinary people, she was indeed much freer. But it was only much freer. Her freedom was a choice within the scope of who to marry, not whether to marry. The 3-year deadline was set there. She had to complete the task within that time, or she would be forcibly assigned. In this situation, logically and reasonably, Yan Ning was indeed her best choice. He had saved her life, was handsome, had sufficient strength, and his status was not low. Moreover, he already had 2 wives, which meant he wasn't the kind of jerk who would abuse women. Seeing Yan Ning still hesitating, Su Wanqing spoke again, her tone even more direct. I am a martial artist, my physical fitness is still there, any position is fine, and giving birth to a football team is no problem. Yan Ning almost choked on his own saliva. The premise is, if there is any way to restore my psychic power in the future, please help me. After saying this, Su Wanqing fell into silence. Yan Ning looked at her and suddenly understood something. She didn't not care about her psychic power, she just hid that care very deeply. The 3-year reproduction task deadline. The fear of losing power. The humiliation of being treated as a useless person. Yan Ning took a deep breath. Any position is fine. Wait, that's not the point. The main thing was, the other party was so sincere and brave, and if I were still fidgety and afraid to respond, would I still be a man? Besides, am I, Yan Ning, someone who can't be taken out in public? Am I that kind of lecher? He just wanted to give a heartbroken girl a home. I agree, Yan Ning said. Su Wanqing was stunned for a moment, seemingly not expecting him to agree so readily. But there is a condition. It's not that, any position is fine, you should take care of your body first. As for the psychic power, I will help you find a way. I can't guarantee whether it can be cured, but I will do my best. Without hesitation. Okay, she said. Coming out of the Cloud-Top Pavilion, the two went directly to the Martial Artist Management Office. The familiar process. Filling out forms, verifying identity, recording genetic information, it took no more than 20 minutes. Half a year ago, Yan Ning registered his marriage with Shen Yao here. At that time, he was a medically retired junior war general with a bleak future, just wanting to find a companion to live with. Later, he registered his marriage with Zhao Zixuan here. At that time, he was a martial artist who had just awakened his psychic power and was starting to have some confidence. Now, he stood here for the 3rd time, his identity already that of a base city councilor, a dual cultivation senior warrior general, and a powerhouse holding a planetary-level weapon in a black god suit. Let's go. Yan Ning put away the certificate and tilted his chin at Su Wanqing. Going home. Su Wanqing nodded and followed behind him, her pace quiet and composed. That night, how should I put it? Su Wanqing lived up to being a former psyker master. Even though her psychic power was completely lost, her control over her body remained terrifying, reaching a level of near micro-control. In the entire lane confrontation match, every detail of Su Wanqing's operations was extremely exaggerated. When to last hit, when to position to bait skills, timing Yan Ning's critical skill cooldowns, etc. When the minion waves collided and the opponent raised their hand to presses, the first thought that popped into Yan Ning's mind was, the early game is too disadvantaged, I'm afraid I'll have to surrender at 15 minutes. As for why not surrender? At 8 minutes, simply because it was a lame confrontation. Only brawls allowed surrendering at 8 minutes. After the initial clash, Yan Ning concluded that the opponent was at least at the level of a great master. But who was Yan Ning? His body, tempered by the Millennium Wood and Grass Spirit, was hardly a silver spear wax tip. Clearly, his control over details was on a higher level. He took a deep breath, steadied his footing, and then seized the opponent's mistake to prepare for a counterattack. From the bush to the river, from the river to the jungle, from the jungle even into the fountain. Back and forth, very intense. Su Wanqing's advantage lay in precision and control, excelling at kiting, while Yan Ning's advantage lay in physical strength and endurance, excelling at breaking techniques with force. And in the end, Yan Ning still managed to fountain camp Su Wanqing, achieving a glorious victory in the single-lane confrontation. You are not bad. Su Wanqing panted, her voice slightly hoarse. The title of Ever Victorious General is not for nothing. Su Wanqing turned her head to look at him, not saying anything, but the corners of her mouth curled up slightly. She was very satisfied. So the taste of confrontation was so wonderful, no wonder everyone enjoyed it so much. Outside the window, the night view of the base city was brightly lit. Yan Ning closed his eyes and calculated silently in his heart. 3 months later, Zhao Zixuan would give birth. Half a year later, Shen Yao's daughter would turn 1, and now, he had another wife. The task of 5 in 3 years didn't seem that hard to complete. Wait for the cloud-caressing vine to wake up, wait for the system rewards to be realized. By then, let alone Nanjong Base City, no one on the entire Azure Star will be able to stop me. Su Wanqing beside him had already fallen asleep, her breathing even. Yan Ning turned his head. Looking at her sleeping face, he suddenly remembered the words she said. Today, any position is fine. This woman was quite interesting. The next morning, Yan Ning woke up and saw a prompt appear before his eyes. Open black lens bracket detected that the host has been as fierce as a dragon and climbing steadily in spreading branches and leaves task, obtained lottery chances ×1 close black lens bracket. Yan Ning was stunned for a moment, then immediately realized. Another critical hit. He subconsciously glanced at Su Wanqing, who was still fast asleep beside him. Is it because she is a psyker master? Her genetic potential is about the same as Zhao Zixuan's, both at apprentice level 6. To be able to get a critical hit, the only variable is the identity of being a psyker master. This discovery made his heart heat up. If being a psyker master could increase the probability of a critical hit, then he had a direction for finding wives in the future. Prioritize psyker masters, and the higher the genetic talent, the better. Yan Ning got up quietly and walked into the washroom again. Bathing, changing clothes, burning incense, then he took 3 deep breaths in front of the mirror. Come on. The lottery panel unfolded. Open black lens bracket item close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket technique close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket equipment close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket other close black lens bracket. 3 seconds later, the pointer stopped steadily on open black lens bracket item close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket. Congratulations to the host for obtaining Dragon Blood Planetary Stage 3 ×1 close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket description. Extracted from the essence blood of a planetary Stage 3 dragon monster, purified through special processes, containing extremely massive life energy, can be consumed. After consumption, it can significantly strengthen the physical body, improve genetic aptitude, repair hidden injuries, and has a probability of breaking through the current realm barrier. Close black lens bracket. Note: Dragon blood energy is violent. The user must possess physical fitness of at least senior warrior general level, otherwise there is a risk of exploding and dying. Yan Ning's breathing suddenly became rapid. Dragon blood. This thing was a top-tier treasure that was always sought after but never found on Azure Star. There were hardly a few planetary-level dragon monsters on the entire Azure Star. And purified dragon blood was even more of a rare treasure. One portion of dragon blood had a market price of at least 80 billion federal credits, and one had to pay at least 100 million merit points. At the rate he was making money, he would have to hack the blades of his arc blade disc to pieces before he could afford it in a million years. Planetary Stage 3 Dragon Blood. Yan Ning muttered, his hands trembling slightly. After being tempered by the Millennium Wood and Grass Spirit. His current martial artist cultivation was Senior Warrior General, only a thin line away from the God of War. If the aptitude wasn't enough, this line would be an eternal barrier. If the aptitude was enough, it would still take years, or even longer, to break through. But Dragon Blood could completely and easily break through it. Chapter 23, God of War Yan Ning. Yan Ning took a deep breath and began to carefully read the precautions. Open black lens bracket precautions close black lens bracket. 1. The user must possess Senior Warrior General level physical body. 2. The refining process will last 3 to 7 days, accompanied by intense pain during this period. 3. It is recommended to consume it in a quiet and safe environment. 4. The dragon blood energy has an automatic protective feature and will not cause irreversible damage to the user. Senior Warrior General level physical body, just barely met the standard. Yan Ning breathed a sigh of relief. It's just a painful process, it's not like I haven't suffered before. He put the dragon blood into the system space and walked out of the washroom. Su Wanqing had already woken up and was leaning against the headboard, watching him. Up so early. Her voice was still a bit hoarse. I have some things to deal with. Yan Ning walked over and kissed her on the forehead. I'm going into seclusion for a few days, please take care of things at home. Su Wanqing nodded without asking further. Yan Ning turned and walked towards the training room, his steps a bit faster than usual. The training room door closed, and the lights turned on. Yan Ning sat cross-legged in the center and took out the dragon blood from the system space. It was a palm-sized transparent bottle containing a dark red liquid. The liquid was very thick, like melted amber, shimmering with a golden halo. Planetary Stage 3 Dragon Blood. Yan Ning gripped the bottle tightly. Drink it, and I will be a god of war. He didn't hesitate, pulled out the stopper, tilted his head back, and downed it in one gulp. The moment the dragon blood entered his throat, it felt like a line of fire burning from his throat all the way to his stomach. Then, an explosion. Boom. Yan Ning only felt an extremely violent energy explode within his body, as if someone had stuffed a sun into his blood vessels. His blood was boiling. His meridians were expanding. Every cell was screaming. Pain. A tearing sensation from the inside out, from head to toe. It felt like something was rampaging inside his body, trying to crush and reorganize every inch of his muscles and every bone. Yan Ning gritted his teeth, veins bulging on his forehead. This little bit of pain, what does it count for? He activated his gene origin energy, guiding the dragon blood energy to circulate through his meridians. Wherever the energy passed, the walls of his meridians were torn, and then repaired by the life energy contained within the dragon blood. Torn, repaired, torn again, repaired again. With each cycle, his meridians became a bit wider and a bit thicker than before. His bones and muscles also emitted dense cracking sounds. Yan Ning's face flushed red. Sweat evaporated into water vapor in the intense heat of the dragon blood. The entire training room was filled with a layer of white mist, and the temperature was over 10 degrees higher than outside. On the first day, he spent it in tearing and repairing. On the second day, the pain reached its peak. On the third day, the pain began to subside. The dragon blood energy was no longer violent but became docile, flowing slowly through his meridians. Those torn tissues began to heal rapidly, and the new muscles and bones were several times tougher than before. On the fourth day, boom, Yan Ning heard a crisp sound from within his body, as if something had been broken through. That barrier between war general and god of war had shattered. 50,000 kilograms, 80,000 kilograms, 100,000 kilograms. His punch force broke through 100,000 kilograms. The limit of a junior war god is only about 130,000 kilograms. Is this the power of the war god level? Yan Ning opened his eyes, and a sharp glint flashed through them before vanishing. The dragon blood energy was not completely exhausted. The remainder turned into a warm current, sinking into his limbs and bones, continuing to nourish his body. This was not a quick fix that forces growth, but a continuous improvement. In the coming months or even years, the residual energy of the dragon blood would slowly transform his physique bit by bit, making him stronger and stronger. The only pity was that his psychic power remained at the senior warrior general level. That's normal. Yan Ning was not too disappointed. Dragon blood mainly strengthens the physical body. There will be plenty of opportunities for psychic power later. He walked to the alloy target in the training room and threw a punch casually. Bang! The half-meter thick alloy target was punched through directly by this strike. Yan Ning looked at the punch hole and remained silent for a few seconds. Who would have thought that in less than a month, I would have broken through from intermediate general to junior war god? He clenched his fist, feeling the surging power within his body. Just by relying on my martial artist physical body strength, supplemented by the black god suit, I am enough to join the war god palace. The black god suit can deflect all attacks below the war god level and has an excellent damage reduction effect against war god level attacks. Now that he is at the war god level himself, equipped with the black god suit, opponents below the war god level hitting him is no different from tickling. Not to mention, once the cloud-caressing vine completes its transformation, my strength will further increase. By then, even an advanced war god won't be able to hurt me. Confidence. After consuming the dragon blood, Yan Ning finally felt a sense of security. It wasn't the kind of security of, I can protect myself, but the sense of security of, I can stand here and let you hit me, and you still can't kill me. But I cannot slack off. In the coming time, I need to brush up on the Yunmo remnants, and strive to master more blades. By then, my combat power will see another terrifying increase. It's impossible to get a critical hit every time I marry. The system is an aid, but not everything. I still need to put in enough effort myself and cannot slack off because of it. Yan Ning took a deep breath, sat cross-legged, and began to consolidate his newly broken through realm. The 10th day of seclusion. When Yan Ning walked out of the training room, he had completely changed. His figure was more upright than before, and a golden halo faintly flowed beneath his skin, like a humanoid dragon. Shenyao was holding their daughter in the living room and was slightly stunned when she saw Yan Ning. "Brother Ning, you seem to have grown taller." "Really?" Yan Ning took his daughter. The little one was already over 2 months old and had grown quite a bit since she was born. She was fair and chubby, with big, bright eyes. "Daddy is here," he said softly, rubbing his forehead against the little one's face. The daughter giggled, her little hands grabbing his finger and holding it tightly. Yan Ning looked down at this little face, and a warm current surged in his heart. When the cloud-caressing vine wakes up, when Su Wanqing's psychic power recovers, and when AZ gives birth to the child. By then, this home will truly be stable. Zhao Zixuan walked out from the inner room, subconsciously supporting her waist as she walked. Su Wanqing followed behind her, holding a cup of hot milk in her hand. "Out of seclusion, you seem to have changed a lot." Su Wanqing glanced at him, her gaze lingering on him for a moment. "Where have I changed?" Yan Ning asked. Su Wanqing thought for a moment and answered seriously, "You're stronger." Out of various considerations, Yan Ning decided not to tell his wives about his breakthrough to the war god-level martial artist for the time being. For no other reason, the progress was too fast. In just a little over a year, he had started from zero as a psyker master and cultivated to the senior warrior general level. In addition, he had also cultivated to the junior war god level as a martial artist. Who would believe this if he told them? And once one becomes a war god level, it means taking on more responsibility and facing more danger. Exposing himself to the spotlight is not a good thing. As the saying goes, Yan Ning is not selfish. When he can easily deal with Lord class and King level monster, the damage he can inflict will be dozens of times what it is now. That will be the time when he truly shines. Chapter 24, Hostility from Beidawang Base City. Beidawang Base City, Li family residence. Li Yifeng leaned on the sofa, nonchalantly scrolling through the martial artist forum. He had just come out of solitary confinement. His parents had locked him up for nearly half a year, calling it reflection in seclusion, but in reality, it was just staying at home, not allowed to go anywhere. Facing the same walls, the same ceiling, and the same old faces every day had almost driven him crazy. Now, the confinement was finally over. Li Yifeng took a deep breath, stretched his neck, and scrolled his finger across the screen. The news on the forum had nothing fresh. It was nothing more than which base city had won a battle, which god of war had made a breakthrough, or which unlucky soul had died in the wild, until he scrolled to a post. Open black lens bracket. The Area K-17 ruin incident at Nanjong Base City has been resolved with perfection. The newly promoted counselor Yan Ning completed the mission single-handedly and rescued one missing special operations team member. Close black lens bracket. Li Yifeng's brows furrowed. Area K-17 ruin. Wasn't that the alien ruin he had set his sights on earlier? He clicked in to read it carefully. The post was very brief, only mentioning that the threat of the ruin had been lifted and that the person responsible for the mission was a newly promoted counselor named Yan Ning. Resolved. Who let him resolve it? Li Yifeng's expression darkened. He had spent half a year in confinement, just waiting to come out and continue planning for that ruin. The ruin contained remnants of alien civilization and corpses of plant-based life forms. For someone with his Psyker Master aptitude, these were priceless treasures. Now, he was being told it had been resolved by someone else. What a joke. Didn't they know this was something young Master Li had his eyes on? Zhang Da, he shouted. A middle-aged man in a black suit walked in quickly and bowed, saying, "Young Master. What's going on with the ruin in Nanjong? Didn't I already give instructions? Why couldn't they wait a few months?" Zhang Da's expression was somewhat difficult. "Young Master, this matter, the situation is a bit complicated. Speak. In Nanjong, the scale of the broken seal in the ruin has been getting larger and larger, and the frequency of beast herd riots has been increasing. They raised the danger rank 3 times in succession, and the last time, it exceeded the authority scope given to you by your parents." Li Yifeng was silent for a moment. He knew that although his parents doted on him, they wouldn't let him do whatever he wanted. Regarding the ruin, they had given him 1 year of operation time and a certain degree of pressure-applying authority, but they also set a limit. If the situation spiraled out of control, he had to stop. So they found someone to resolve the ruin. Do my parents know about this? Li Yifeng's tone was void of joy or anger. They know, Zhang Da said in a low voice. The master and madam's meaning is, since the situation has exceeded the controllable range, it is better to stop here. The risk of that ruin is indeed too high, it is not worth taking risks for it. Stop, Li Yifeng sneered. How much effort have I spent on that ruin? Sending people to scout, mobilizing resources, pulling strings, I've dumped nearly 10 billion just on money, and now you tell me to stop. Zhang Da lowered his head, not daring to reply. Who did it? What is the background of that guy named Yan Ning? Newly promoted counselor, intermediate general, psyker master. Zhang Da quickly reported the information. Originally a martial artist in the frontline troops. 3 years ago, his foundation was damaged in the Nanjing meat grinder war, and he handled a medical retirement. Later, because of his outstanding performance in recruitment missions, he was jointly recommended by 2 gods of war, Zhao Henian and Zhou Wenbin, and was exceptionally promoted to base city councillor. Medical retirement. Li Yifeng's expression became subtle. A martial artist who took medical retirement, an intermediate general, recommended by 2 gods of war to become a counselor, and then he single-handedly resolved a ruin that even gods of war couldn't handle. Do you think this is reasonable? Zhang Da hesitated for a moment. According to intelligence, he may have hidden his strength. Hidden his strength? Li Yifeng scoffed. A martial artist who took medical retirement, what strength could he hide? At most a senior warrior general. That level of ruin, even gods of war couldn't handle it, can a war general handle it? He stood up and walked to the window. Looking at the prosperous street scene of Beidawang Base City outside, he said coldly. There are 2 possibilities. First, he is lucky. A blind cat bumped into a dead mouse, the things in the ruin died on their own, and he picked up a bargain. Second, Li Yifeng turned around and looked at Zhang Da. He has something incredible in his hands that made the things in the ruin back down. Young master, you mean? I don't care what he has in his hands. I only care about the result. Alien ruins are rare. I finally found one, spent so much effort, and it was intercepted by someone else. I, Li Yifeng, am not an unreasonable person. If you eat my stuff, spit it out double, and this matter can be glossed over. What does young master plan to do? First, check his bottom line. Li Yifeng sat back on the sofa and crossed his legs. A war general level counselor, what kind of background could he have? Find out clearly first. Yes. Oh, right. Li Yifeng suddenly remembered something and continued to ask, that Yan Ning, what is his current strength? According to public information, he is an intermediate general, but considering he could resolve the ruin alone. Zhang Da weighed his words. He may have the strength of a senior warrior general, or even close to a god of war. Close to a god of war. Li Yifeng raised his eyebrows. A martial artist who took medical retirement, rushing from an elementary war general to close to a god of war in half a year. However, only in this way is it relatively reasonable. Interesting, but a war general is just a war general. Even if he touches the threshold of a god of war, he is still just a war general. Li Yifeng stood up, walked to the weapon rack, picked up an A8 grade battle saber, and weighed it in his hand. Perfect. I've been stifled in solitary confinement for half a year, and my bones have rusted. I need to find a soft persimmon to squeeze and loosen my muscles. Young master, that Yan Ning. Zhang Da hesitated. What? This person is extremely low-key. He barely goes out. He has rejected all invitations from major martial arts gyms and media interviews. Trying to get him to come out is very difficult. Li Yifeng's expression turned cold instantly. Difficult. I spend so much money to raise you all to solve problems, not to throw problems at me. Zhang Da hurriedly lowered his head. It is this subordinate's incompetence. If you can't find the person, find the people around him. He always has family, friends, and things he cares about. Find their contact information, or find a way to make him have to come out. He paused and added, "Do I need to teach you? This subordinate understands. Then get lost. Go do it." Zhang Da bowed and exited the room, closing the door gently. Li Yifeng stood by the window, his fingers gliding lightly over the blade, his gaze deep. Yan Ning, Nanjong Base City Councilor, Intermediate General, Psyker Master. A martial artist who took medical retirement, rising in half a year, recommended by gods of war, and resolved a ruin. You fellow, could you have an alien ruin on your hands? Otherwise, how else do you explain your rapid rise in strength? Li Yifeng didn't feel it was tricky. He possessed planetary stage martial artist aptitude and senior war god psyker master aptitude, perfectly inheriting all the aptitude of his parents. And the Betawang base city under his feet. It could be called his Li family's one-man show. A mere intermediate, senior war general, what could he use to fight him? However, this kind of person either has real ability or has someone behind him. No matter which one, killing a chicken to scare the monkeys, I'll just use him as the opening act. Of course, he wouldn't be stupid enough to act directly. Although Li Yifeng was arrogant, he wasn't a fool. His Li family wasn't the boss of Azure yet. There were more prominent and powerful forces above them. Being too prominent and arrogant wasn't good. Someone who could be jointly recommended by two gods of war had some tricks up his sleeve. If he couldn't move on the surface, he would come from the shadows. Pressuring, isolating, cutting off his resources, moving against his people. There were plenty of ways to make a newly promoted counselor with no foundation unable to move an inch. Do you really think I, Li Yifeng, am an arrogant fool? Just a war general, if he dies, he dies. As long as things are done well on the surface, no one will oppose me for a dead man. He inserted the battle saber back into the rack and turned to walk out of the room. Prepare the fighter jet, go to Nanjong. Young master, madam said that since you have just been unbanned, it is not advisable to. I said go to Nanjong. Don't you understand? Li Yifeng's voice wasn't loud, but it made the attendant tremble with cold. The attendant immediately shut his mouth and trotted off to prepare. Li Yifeng stood in the corridor, looking in the direction of Nanjong Base City. Yan Ning, is it? I'd like to see just how much ability you have. Chapter 25, Yan Ning's Fury. Nanjong Base City, Council Hall Villa area. Yan Ning was practicing with the arc blade disc in the training room. 48 silver blades darted through the air, tracing arcs. His control was becoming increasingly proficient, and the coordination between the blades was growing more tacit, dancing gracefully in the narrow space. Yan Ning's goal was 108 blades. But it was difficult, relying solely on the Yunmo remnants and the Millennium Wood and Grass Spirit to control 48 blades could already be called a miracle. Without other heaven and earth treasure to improve the upper limit of a Psyker Master's talent, slow progress was inevitable. But Yan Ning was open-minded and did not worry to the point of suffering chi deviation or losing his original intent. The Yunmo remnants recorded that the first form of a controller required manipulating 108 weapons simultaneously to form a blade array. By then, attacks would no longer be single-point raids but omnidirectional coverage. With 108 planetary-level blades erupting simultaneously, let alone a god of war, even a planetary-level powerhouse would have to weigh the consequences. The path of martial arts is long, and one cannot rush it. Stopping to look at the scenery by the roadside and spending time with family was also quite nice. Yan Ning walked out of the training room and came to the living room. Shen Yao was breastfeeding their daughter, Zhao Zixuan was reading a parenting book, and Su Wanqing sat by the window, holding a cup of tea, staring blankly at the sky outside. 3 people, 3 states of being, but all quiet, not disturbing each other. Yan Ning stood in the corridor, watching this scene, and a vague feeling welled up in his heart. This home was increasingly becoming like a real home. The sky outside the window was tinged with a golden halo under the setting sun, and the traffic on the distant streets was like weaving fabric. Everything looked so peaceful and harmonious. But Yan Ning knew that Li Yifeng was not someone to be trifled with. Once his strength became powerful enough, he would find a pretext to bury him in a place with better feng shui. He thought to himself, Firstly, the other party's deeds were heinous. In his previous life, such evil acts would deserve to be shot 10 times over. Secondly, how could one be on guard against a thief every single day? Yan Ning had a fiery spirit. If the other party acted honestly, Yan Ning wouldn't mind leaving him a way out. After all, an elephant really wouldn't care about an ant at its feet. But, how could the other party be honest? Yan Ning's low-profile, unassuming nature was also based on this consideration. The other party would definitely retaliate. Having crawled out of a mountain of corpses and a sea of blood, Yan Ning knew the psychology of such people too well. Therefore, appearing weak to the enemy, while providing the other party with a pretext, also gave the outside world a reason. Look, the other party took the initiative to provoke me, I am just killing in self-defense. I hope I am overthinking it. Yan Ning withdrew his gaze and turned to walk into the study. Not long after, on his communication watch, Zhou Zhengyuan sent a new message. Open black lens bracket little friend Yan, I heard that someone in the North Great Wilderness is inquiring about you. Stay safe. Close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket. Thank you for the reminder, Council Chairman. I understand. Close black lens bracket. Closing the communication watch, Yan Ning leaned back in his chair, his gaze deep. The movement is really fast. Li Yifeng. Beidawang Base City, the Li family, the only son of a planetary-level powerhouse. Li Yifeng's mother was a planetary-level powerhouse, one of the Azure Elders, ranked 7th in the War God Palace. His father was an advanced War God Psyker Master, also a top combat force, ranked 12th in the War God Palace. The Li family had operated in Beidawang Base City for decades, and the top and bottom were already as solid as an iron bucket. And he, Yan Ning, a newly risen counselor, was indeed not enough to look at in front of the Li family. But not enough to look at does not mean I am afraid. Come on, let me see how much ability you have. Yan Ning's hand pressed on the windowsill, applying slight force, leaving a shallow finger mark on the alloy windowsill. War God level strength flowed at his fingertips. 10 days later. The days were as peaceful as usual. Yan Ning continued to polish the arc blade disc in the training room during the day, hoping to control more blades. Zhao Zixuan's belly was getting bigger and bigger, the due date was in 2 months. Everything seemed to be moving in a good direction. Until evening, Yan Ning came out of the training room, intending to accompany Zhao Zixuan for a walk in the garden, but saw her sitting alone on the sofa in the living room, her shoulders trembling slightly. Yan Ning walked over, sat down beside her, and asked, "What's wrong? Who bullied our little AZ?" Zhao Zixuan looked up, her eyes red, clutching her communication watch in her hand. "My dad, he went to participate in a conscription again. He left 10 days ago, saying that a Lord-level iron-backed golden-crowned eagle was discovered in the north and that martial artists of war general level or above were needed to encircle and suppress it. He said that after this fight, he would never go again and would come back to help me take care of the baby." A sense of foreboding rose in Yan Ning's heart. But he signaled for Zhao Zixuan to continue. The encirclement battle ended 3 days ago. In the past, every time a mission ended, he would send me a message immediately to tell me he was fine, but this time, 3 days have passed, and there is no news at all. She finally couldn't help it, and tears fell. "I can't contact him. I can't contact him at all." Yan Ning reached out and put his arm around her shoulders, letting her lean into his embrace. "I don't want you to take risks." Zhao Zixuan clutched his clothes. "I know you are a counselor now and your strength is stronger than before, but my dad is just an intermediate general, and he hasn't returned. How much chance would you have if you went?" She looked up, her eyes blurred with tears, looking at Yan Ning. "Martial artist is a profession where you hang your head on your belt. I have understood this truth since I was a child, but I don't want to lose you too. The baby will be born in 2 months, I can't let him grow up without a father." Yan Ning looked at Zhao Zixuan's red eyes, and a certain place in his heart was tugged hard. Yan Ning wiped the tears from her face and comforted her. "Don't worry, I will handle this matter. But, trust me, it is time for the position of counselor to move up a bit." Yan Ning looked at the 3 women and said firmly, "There is one thing I didn't have time to tell you. I have already achieved a breakthrough to the War God level. Wait for me at home, other things can wait until I come back. Underground training room. Ning used his counselor authority to enter the Nanjong base city's conscription system. 10 minutes later, he found everything he wanted to know. This northern encirclement conscription had been wrong from the start. The iron-backed golden-crowned eagle was indeed Lord level, but its range of activity had always been in the mountains 400 kilometers to the north, never approaching the defense line of Nanjong base city. Under normal circumstances, threats of this level should be handled by people sent by the War God Palace, not by temporarily conscripting a group of War General-level stragglers to go to their deaths. But the conscription order was still issued. The initiator was a middle-level official of the Nanjong Base City Council Hall, and the reason for the proposal was to eliminate potential threats in advance. This proposal passed by a narrow margin in the Council Hall's vote, with only one more vote in favor than against. Ning flipped through the list of co-signers and voting records of the proposal, his eyes growing colder. After the proposal was passed, the conscription list was quickly finalized. Zhao Tishan's name was prominently listed. A 45-year-old intermediate general whose foundation was damaged and whose cultivation was regressing rather than advancing, having not been on a field mission for half a year. Why would such a person appear on an encirclement list targeting a lord-level monster?